mornings from 7 to 10. It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Greetings and salutations. Happy Friday, everybody. Not a happy Friday for Memphis Tigers basketball fans. After last night's loss in Philadelphia against Temple, we will discuss in just a few moments. But first, welcome in to Sports 56 Mornings, the Friday, January 17th, 2025 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers with you. We're broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios as we do each and every day. The floor model sale continues. All 2024 inventory has to go to make room for 2025 inventory. That means you get savings all the way up to 50% off or all their floor models on everything that's in stock, including hot tubs, pool tables, arcades, cold plunges, etc., etc. Check them out today, this weekend, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It's Family Leisure. Currently, it is 30 degrees. It's going to heat up today. We're talking a high temperature of 59, may even reach 60 degrees. Some sun and then some clouds and the possibility of some afternoon rain, maybe even into the evening, but about a 25% chance. Better chance for precip tomorrow, about a 46% chance of some rain for your Saturday with a high of 50. And then all of a sudden, there goes the temperatures. 33 for a high on Sunday with an overnight low of 16. And then on Monday to kick off your new work week and school week, overnight low 14 degrees going into your Monday morning with 26 for a high. That is it. So that's about a 30-degree difference or more between what we're going to have today and what we're going to have on Monday. As I mentioned, we will open up in just a few moments talking about the Tigers' loss. The 18th ranked team in the nation go down in the city of brotherly love where there was no love for the Tigers. We'll talk Memphis Grizzlies basketball. The Grizzlies back in action against the Spurs again tonight. We'll give you an update on Ja Morant's status, who may or may not be able to go in this game. Also, G.G. Jackson played again with the hustle last night. So back-to-back games for G.G. Jackson. That's certainly a great sign for the Grizzlies moving forward. We'll take a look at the NFL playoffs, the divisional round with 2 games tomorrow, 2 games Sunday. We'll have an early peek about our peek on the national championship game Monday night. We'll talk more about it, of course, on Monday, but that will pit Ohio State and Notre Dame in Atlanta with Ohio State an 8-point favorite in that one. The Major League Baseball world, really the sports world, lost a unique individual, a legend. We'll give you some of that information with the passing of Bob Uecker. We got some more NBA news outside of the Grizzlies to get to, and also the Department of Education and what they had to say about Title IX with the start of revenue sharing, which is expected to begin next season, and how that could certainly put some programs in a dire situation as far as finances are concerned. John Varlos will join us in studio as he does every Friday at 7:25. We will check in with Matt Dillon in Philadelphia. He'll be on his way to Charlotte later today for Sunday's game. But we'll talk to Matt about the Tigers with the Tiger Basketball Report, 8:25, 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation at 9:05, and then Brandon Lag at 9:25 to handicap the NFL divisional round and the national championship game for Monday. So that is your lineup for today. Obviously, with the Tigers losing, we always love to hear from you guys because you love to react to that. So early and often, we'll take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Enjoy the warm weather today because, the cold weather's coming again next week.
It is a-coming. And I told you, not that I was splitting the atom or anything like that, but there was going to be a clunker for the Tigers. There was going to be a game where they just couldn't do anything right. There's probably going to be another loss or two. I think UAB is going to give them trouble. But this was the game that I was talking about. Now, for Tigers fans, let's hope there's not multiple games like this. But when I said a clunker, I meant a game where, again, nothing worked. And when you have a Tigers team that struggled all game long, got it down to within a possession, And when PJ Haggerty, your go-to guy who has been so good, when he is unable to make some free throws, when he is unable to make some shots that he normally does, you know it's not going to be your night. Temple did what Temple does. They play physical basketball. They play a defensive-oriented game, but they made some shots. Memphis looked confused. Defensively, it was the worst communication I've seen this season. It was open three after open three after open three for Temple, and they knocked a bunch of them down, but it was the hustle. It was the second chance and third chance opportunities. It was the offensive rebounds. It was the total rebounds. They out-rebounded Memphis by 24, 49-25. It was a horrible, horrible night for the Memphis Tigers. Is it the end of the world? No. But you can almost see the end of the world now, and that's something you don't want in your mirror or in front of you or anywhere in your life. Memphis loses at Temple 88-81. They dropped to 13-4, 3-1 in the conference. So their first conference loss. Now everybody in the league has at least one loss. Temple actually tied now with Memphis. Well, technically ahead of Memphis now in conference, as they are also 3-1, 11-6 overall.
Yes, certainly disappointing. The rebounding issue has been one that's been there all season, and you wondered when it might cause a real problem. And last night it caused a real problem. 22 offensive rebounds, and you only get 25 total rebounds is crazy. And, they didn't turn the ball over as much in this game. Those have been the two issues they've had, is the turnovers and offensive rebounds. They didn't turn over as much, but they give up the 22 offensive rebounds and the 19 second chance points. The Tigers now are 344th in the nation in offensive rebound percentage allowed. Teams are rebounding nearly 36% of their missed shots against the Tigers. And that's just like that. That's you can win games, and certainly in this conference you can win games that way. But if you're going to do that against good teams in the NCAA tournament down the road, that's hard to overcome. And even a team like Temple, you give them enough offensive rebounds, they're going to beat you. And it's just extra possessions that you're allowing. And again, with the turnover problems that they've had and giving up offensive rebounds, you're just giving teams extra possessions, and you just can't afford to give up that many extra possessions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just a conga line to the boards for Temple. There was that one possession in the second half, late in the game, when they got 4 shots at it and were able to capitalize and score a bucket. Memphis could not get a rebound, 4 opportunities, 4 different shots in the one possession for Temple, and that epitomized the game. That one play right there. And then Haggerty had the drive where the ball rolled around the rim and it didn't go. It fell out. Those are shots he normally makes. He missed a couple of key free throws when it was a one-possession game. There are going to be games like this, and hopefully it was just one for Memphis. Asked after the game about his concern, Penny Hardaway said, "No worries yet." But this was on the heels of a couple of people, Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. I heard Matt Dillon say it in the pregame, that it was one of their best practices of the year. In fact, I think Penny was told by somebody that he thought it was the best practice he's seen in a couple of years. I think Matt said that, and we'll have Matt on the show. And so they go from that practice in Philadelphia to that performance in that game.
Well, the thing is, this is the exact spot on the schedule where things fell apart last year. Now, granted, this is one loss at Temple. Temple has not lost a game at home yet this year. But it was Thursday, January 18th last year where they lost to South Florida that started a 4-game losing streak in conference. So the key is you have to recover, put this behind them, and make sure that you don't allow it to happen in Charlotte. And you just don't want this to snowball into anything more than a loss. And again, this, if you looked at the schedule, was one of, if not the toughest game on the schedule in conference play. Because again, Temple hasn't lost at home. They're one of the better teams in the conference and good on their home floor. So, it's not a complete shock here, but again, you just can't let this lead to another loss and then another loss because there's not a whole lot of room for error in this conference, and now you've lost one.
Memphis drops from 37 to 41 in the net. And to piggyback off what you just said, and I tweeted this out last night, pretty much echoing your sentiments. Yes, it's not a good loss. It's not a horrible loss. They lost on the road in conference. As I've said, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, I don't care who you are. It's almost an impossibility to go through a conference schedule, no matter how good that conference is, and go unblemished. There's going to be nights like that when you're just not playing your best, and it wasn't even close to their best, and nobody was. But like you said, you can't allow that to snowball. Last year, it did. I feel, and most people feel, this is a different team. I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to bounce back and be good against Charlotte. But it does boggle the mind when the same team that beat Connecticut, beat Michigan State, beat Ole Miss by 17, who just won in Alabama against the Crimson Tide, that same team looked like they were a mediocre at best team yesterday, watching them. They did not do anything right. And I expect them to bounce back Sunday against a bad Charlotte team. Memphis has had success against Temple. Penny has had success against Temple. They figure it out. But Temple, while they're not North Texas, they don't want to slow it down to a crawl. They do want to play that physical, in-your-face basketball. And Memphis was not up for that physical challenge. It's very interesting. I talk about this all the time, but how the Grizzlies and Tigers seemingly every year there's things that mirror each other. Santi Aldama just talked about the loss after the Houston game, that we're not as physical as we need to be, basically, I'm paraphrasing, against teams that are really physical. And then here's the Tigers saying the same thing after the game. I think it was Tyrese Hunter talking about not stepping up to the physicality that Temple had. Teams got to figure it out. Memphis has to figure out how to win in a physical, knock them down, drag them out game, half-court game. They were able to do it against North Texas. They got to figure out a way to win when teams are pressing. They got to figure out a way to win when they're going to need to knock down threes, and they've done that for the most part. So, again, the sky is not falling right now. But, as you mentioned, there's eerie similarities to last year. And we go back to that East Carolina win where it was really eerily similar to the ice storm from last year and the collapse against South Florida. Well, it didn't happen. They were able to eke out that win. And when you have Haggerty, I always feel Memphis is going to win a game. I said if they were within 7 or 8, under 10 minutes to go, they'll win. And they were 8 down, and they didn't get it done. And you don't throw this all on Haggerty because that's one guy. But when Haggerty's shots aren't going and he misses some free throws, you're in trouble. And that's the way it went.
Well, the good news, again, is the fact that Charlotte is the next opponent. I mean, Charlotte's terrible. If you lose to Charlotte, the sky is falling. Like, that would be a disaster.
Pack up the bags.
Like, they are awful. They've lost 6 in a row. They have beaten nobody. I mean, they've got losses to Long Island and East Tennessee State.
It's
and
Rod Strickland's Long Island team, my friend.
They haven't won a conference game. I mean, this is a really bad team. So this is a team that, yes, if you were to lose on Sunday, then you really got to start wondering what the heck's going on. But it is a nice soft landing that they get with it. For it to be another road game to follow this up, Charlotte may be as friendly an opponent as they could possibly find.
Yeah, no question about it. But it's going to get tougher. UAB's around the corner. You're going to play 2 games with them. Remember, Temple returns the favor. They'll play here in Memphis. You got Wichita State, I think home and home, right? With Wichita State, if I'm not mistaken. I know you at least go there. So it's not a great conference. I understand that. Here's the thing. I was on with Brett and Bryant, as I am every Thursday at 5 o'clock. And Brett was saying, maybe the conference is a little bit better. To some effect, the conference is a little bit better than maybe what we perceived. And I said, I don't think so, but I think there's more parity in the conference. Under Memphis, outside of Memphis, there's a lot of parity. Now, if Memphis doesn't play their best game, certainly, and we saw it last night firsthand, they can lose. But I think there's a lot of parity between, the bottom and teams that are 2, 3, 4 in the standings right now. So while you see these competitive games, I still don't think it's a good conference. The numbers would show that, because all you have to do is look back at what these teams did in the non-conference portion of their schedule. Those who played teams with pulses. Temple didn't play much of anybody, but teams who actually stepped up and played some teams of consequence, they lost, except for Memphis. But it's not just BS when we say, and Penny says, and the players talk about it, that it's not the easiest thing to get up for every single game in the conference when you're playing one day Connecticut and one day Ole Miss, and then you're playing one day Rice. There is a big difference, and you got to find your way to motivate yourself. Moussa Cisse played like an NBA player when he played against Ole Miss. He did some decent things last night, but not enough. The bigs are so inconsistent. But last night, everybody was inconsistent. It ended up being Haggerty with 21, but again, missed some key free throws down the stretch. Dane Danger had 14, but defensively, he was a liability. Travis Hunter at 16. Tigers, as you mentioned, Eli, they cut down the turnovers, but it didn't matter. In the end, it did not matter. Temple hit some open threes. I thought the communication, as I mentioned earlier, was horrible on the switches. They left open guys. So that has to be fixed. But think about it in conference play. After blowing out Florida Atlantic, they had a tough game with North Texas, which was understandable. They blew a huge double-digit lead to East Carolina. Didn't blow the lead, but didn't lose the game. But the lead diminished all the way down to a couple of points, and they nearly lost. And then you had this game against Temple, which they did lose. So right now at 3-1, I still think this is a team that could go 16-2. And I think they have to go 16-2. This loss probably cost them 1 seed line. You could probably afford a loss, let's say a split with UAB. And then after that, you're losing a seed line every single time, if not 2, depending on who you lose to. So they're backing themselves up against the wall because of the conference they play in. There's just no chances to really get big wins.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't right now. Again, it could change, but this is a quad 2 loss. Like, this isn't some disaster of a loss.
Right.
It's a road game, and Temple right now is in I don't know what they moved up to. I didn't look to see what they moved up to, but they're in the 100 to 120 range in the net. So it's not something that is just an absolutely crippling type loss. They're 107 now.
107, jumped up 16 spots with that win.
So it's, again, this doesn't look awful. A Charlotte loss, that would look awful. This one doesn't look awful. It's as far as the types of games you're playing in this conference. A couple of texts here on the Sicily's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255. Ron says Memphis is going to lose a few road games. I mean, the key is if you are going to lose games in the conference, make sure they are on the road. Mm-hmm. Do not lose any home games in conference play. That is that's when the losses get really bad, when you start losing them at home in this conference.
And it got antsy against East Carolina, but they won.
David says our bigs are not good enough. Here, the problem with Moussa Cisse last night, almost 21 minutes, 3 rebounds. Mm-hmm. And again, on a night you're getting killed on the boards, if you're like that, Musa's got to be able to rebound. Like that's like you have to be able to rebound at his size.
There were so many long rebounds in that game, and Memphis was in bad position. There were times when the Tigers were so far underneath the bucket that it just went over their heads and right into the hands of a Temple player. Just bad positioning. Everything was bad about the rebounding last night.
Drew says Kobe Rogers has been awful since the Virginia game other than Ole Miss. The Ole Miss game was a great game, but his shooting, let's see.
Didn't take a lot of shots, did
East
he?
Carolina, he was 3 for 7 from 3.
Yeah, you'll take that.
But
He's got to be more of a factor. He's very, very important to this team.
yeah, he was. Yeah, the Virginia and Mississippi State games were the two where he went a combined 0 for 12. Then he bounced back against Ole Miss. In conference play, he is 6 for 23 overall for
A
3-point
little over
range.
25%, yeah.
So, yeah, he certainly has not. Another text here. Let me get this pulled up here. Arthur said, I'd rather lose a game or two in conference than to go undefeated and lose in the first round of the tournament. Well, yeah.
If you could trade that.
But the problem is the losses in conference worsen your seed for the tournament and make it more likely you would lose in the first round of the tournament because you have to play a better team in the first round of the tournament. They're tied together. So that's the problem.
They're tied together, and also it's not an either or. You could do both. You could lose these games and then lose in the first round of the tournament. You gotta figure it out. I mean, it's not dire right now, but there are some issues. When you get pounded on the boards by Temple, 49-25, and they have 22 offensive boards, that's an issue. That's something that has to be rectified.
Again, I've talked about with Ken Pom and his projections game by game. This was one of the two games that was the thing. Like according to his projections, this was one of the two toughest games they had in conference play.
Yeah, I
so
thought
again, this by no means is like some just unbelievably horrendous loss.
I thought 8.5-point spread in Memphis's favor. I thought that was a joke. I thought Memphis was going to win, and as I said with Brett and Bryant, pull it out in the end. But I thought they would probably play ugly. It would be an ugly game, and then get the win in the end because of Haggerty. Again, putting a lot of pressure on Haggerty, but that's the kind of player he is, and unfortunately they weren't able to come through. But that's the clunker I talked about, where nothing's going to work. Nothing worked last night. You just hope, again, if you're a Tiger fan, it's only the one game. All right, real quick, before we take our first break, John Varlas will join us on the other side. Later on in the show, we'll talk NFL playoffs. We'll talk about the passing of the great Bob Uecker. More on this Tigers game, more of your reaction as well with texts and calls. Grizzlies tonight, 26-15 on the road at the Spurs, who are 19-20 after the Grizzlies won Wednesday, 129-115. Ja Morant is now on the injury list. He's questionable with foot soreness. Hopefully nothing too serious, but again, you play a couple of games, Ja's back on the injury report. This probably is precautionary, and there's a chance that maybe he doesn't play tonight. But G.G. Jackson did play last night. Were you surprised, first of all, he goes back-to-back for the hustle?
Yeah, I was surprised. I had said yesterday, I had talked to T.C. Sorsky the night before, and he said we do not know the plan for the second night. And I think the way G.G. talked after the game, I think this was a little bit his choice, that he felt he needed another game and may even need some more, a little bit more time with the hustle, just getting in shape. Getting his game in shape, getting his shot, everything else. So I think probably a lot of it was left up to Gigi to whether he was going to play in that game last night. Asked him after the game what the plan was now, and he said the plan was to fly to San Antonio, but he doesn't know for sure. He said, if they want me, I don't think he's going to San Antonio, but he said, if they want me to suit up Monday, obviously I'll do that. If not, I could use some more work. He feels like he could use some more time with the hustle. Mm-hmm. So they go to Texas for a game tomorrow. He could, I guess, go there, play that game, then come back home and join the Grizzlies for Monday. But he's open to whatever, and openly said, like, I feel like I could use a little bit more time with the hustle to get in shape and everything else.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. 28 points, 8 rebounds for G.G. Jackson in the second game of those back-to-back games for the Memphis Hustle. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, a great option for lunch, dinner, today, this weekend. Anytime's a good time for Corky's. You can dine in at any of their 4 restaurants. You can carry out, drive-through, no-contact delivery, or have any of the delivery services, delivered to your home or your office. Also, look, they've been catering their entire existence. They know how to do it. They're really good at it. No matter how large that party may be, that gathering may be, maybe a big convention, you have to feed a lot of mouths. Corky's can do it for you. They'll start you out as low as $7.99 per person. They have lunch specials every day. They have party packs that start at just $7.49. And when you head over today for lunch, for dinner, you get yourself your entree. Let's say you get a barbecue sandwich. Get a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99 when you get that entree. You can go with their award-winning catfish plate, tamales, burgers. It's all out of this world at Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Start yourself off with that cheese and sausage plate. 4 locations: Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. John Varlas is coming up next, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, EV6, 36-month lease, RU 621, 425, 36-month lease, MSRP 55,820, K4 SEO 64,461, MSRP 24,715, Telluride SG 596,204, MSRP 41,060, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through KFA, excludes tax title license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 131/24.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. He's doing numbers I've never heard of before at Gossen Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Randy, when's the last time you heard of a new ride at $163 a month with electric EPA range of estimate 310? I got it in a 2024 Kia EV6, $63.96 due at signing, 36-month lease. Or a 2025 K4 GT Line, $206 a month, $34.99 due at signing, 24-month lease. 2025 Telluride S front-wheel drive, $398 per month, $39.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
I'm Sean Sewer with XMC Technologies, your local source for the best in office technology for over 30 years. We believe that being a technology partner means meeting our clients' needs as they change over time. That's why I'm happy to share that we are now Visual Edge IT. As cyber attacks continue to be a growing threat, our customers are asking for more cybersecurity and ransomware protection. For more information on how to protect your office, visit us at visualedgeit.com or call us locally 901-737-8910.
If wedding bells are in your future, you need an unforgettable engagement ring from a jeweler you can trust. And that's been James Gaddis Jewelers for over 60 years. With a huge selection and the best prices, James Gaddis is a master jeweler and diamondologist. Beautiful jewelry from James Gaddis is always the right choice. Choose from rings to earrings, necklaces to bracelets, and gemstones to watches. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar, online at GaddisJewelers.com, and Instagram at Gaddis Jewelers. Say I do at James Gaddis Jewelers. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church downtown Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Starting to pick up just a bit in a couple of spots out here on I-40, especially coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County as you work your way past Germantown Parkway on 40 westbound all the way over to Sycamore View Road. It's picked up with more volume just in the last few minutes, but it's still moving on 55 northbound as you come up through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for over 40 years. They are your Valentine's Day headquarters. Go by and see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:30 the time, just underway on this Friday. A little post-mortem about the Tigers in our first segment. We'll talk more about that later on in the program, but right now it's time to visit with John Varlos.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlos. Again, check out John's prep sports coverage and much more at DailyRedFan.com. John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where pros and preps go to get their shot on. Shoot 360 Memphis. Now here's John Varlos.
He is the award-winning prep reporter from the Daily Memphian. He is John Varlos, but he's so much more. You can hear him every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. And John Varlos is brought to you each and every week by the great folks at Shoot 360 Memphis. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's everybody?
Everybody's doing fantastic. Well, at least I can't speak for him. I'm doing fine.
Well, Eli, I talked to him off here. He seems to be doing well, and they're doing great out there at Shoot 360 Memphis, too. I mean, you know, a lot of businesses come and go, but, you know, you can tell the businesses that are in it for the long haul. You know, they make the investments in time and facilities, and they try to do things the right way, and that's what the folks at Shoot 360 or at Memphis are doing. They really want to be a part and a key helper in the development of the Memphis basketball community, and they've got the facilities and the people out there to do just that. They will you know, they will work with you at any skill level, you know, any age. You know, they'll work with teams, coaches out there. You know, they do free team clinics. But, you know, the most important thing they do out there is the shooting. They will make you a better shooter thanks to their new age scientific way of looking at the shot process and the expert hands-on coaching they have. So you can give them a call in Cordova, 901-779-3176, and the original location in Collierville, 901-316-5500. You can do monthly memberships, long-term memberships. You can be a member at either facility. Just give them a call at one of those numbers. They will work with you. They will take care of you, and they will get you right. Shoot 360 Memphis. They're in it to win it.
Let's jump in talking some basketball. We begin with some big news from the last few days. A few days ago, I guess, Bubba Luckett got his 700th career win at Christian Brothers.
Hey, congrats to Coach Luckett, huh? Former Memphis State Tiger, a brother's boy. I mean, he is the epitome of what that school likes to represent. Mm-hmm. You know, from its student athletes. He's he came to Christian Brothers as a student, and he's never really left. And he's had such a tremendous career. And yeah, 700 wins. They beat the homeschool team a few nights ago, MHEA, Memphis Homeschool Education Association. He got win number 700. He's the winningest active coach in our area, and you know there's not too many ahead of him. The ones ahead of him on the list, Jerry Peters, Terry Tippett. You know those guys are no longer active. I believe Fred Horton is also ahead of Coach Peters as well, but he's not coaching anymore. Coach Luckett. So yeah, Coach Luckett's the winningest active coach in our area. Hopefully, he's still got a few more in him. You know, I'm looking forward to going out and seeing him here pretty soon and catching up with him for an article we've got in the works. And just a really good man. He's had a fantastic career there at Christian Brothers, and hats off to that for that accomplishment.
How many years now has he been coaching?
Oh gosh, a long time. I mean, I'm gonna say offhand, I don't know, but I'm gonna say over 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're racking up 700 wins at the high school
Coach
level.
Peters won 1,000 games. Coach Peters passed away how many years ago?
Coach Peters he passed away several years ago. It's been maybe 8 or 10 years.
It's been that long now. Of course, Coach Tippett passed away this past year.
Just a couple months ago. Yeah.
How many was Terry behind Jerry in all-time wins?
It's real easy to remember. Coach Peters had 1,001 victories. And Terry Tippett had 902 victories.
Oh wow!
He was almost exactly 200 behind.
100.
Yeah.
You said
100. Yeah. Math is not my strong suit. As you know, but it's kind of interesting symmetry there.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, no, they had tremendous careers. I mean, you do it. I mean, Eli and I are talking about it off the air, just the math of how you get to 700 wins. I mean, you got to coach a long time and you got to win a bunch of games, in that span. Let's say you coach 25 years and you win 20 games a year. Well, that's only 500.
That's like the Peters, like it just seems like it's hard to comprehend that because again, like Bubba Luckett's been doing it for a long time and been really good at it.
Really good.
He's still 300 wins behind him. Like, that's so.
You can't have a disastrous year, let alone mediocre year. Like you can't have one of those years where you won 8 games.
No, you really can't. I mean, and with Jerry Peters, I mean, 52 years at MUF.
I mean, that's the thing. Like doing it for
longevity
that long
helps,
just,
but they're still great coaches.
Yeah, 52 years at MUS. Certainly we'll never see that again. We'll never see anything close to that. But yeah, I mean, the coaches like Coach Peters, Coach Tippett, Bubba Luckett, Fred Horton, Sylvester Ford, Ted Anderson, that's a dying breed and a generation of coaches that like I said, a couple of them thankfully are still around here with us that we can enjoy them and appreciate them, but a lot of those guys are no longer with us, and we're not gonna see their likes again because I just as good as a lot of these younger coaches are, as passionate as they are, I don't know that they're gonna be in the game for 25, 30, 35, 40 years and have a chance to rack up these numbers.
It's an interesting point.
Because now they play a few more games than they did. But again, if you win 30 games, which is an incredible year at a high school level to win 30 games. If you win 30 games a year, you got to do that for over 33 straight years to catch up with it. Like, that's unbelievable to think of that number.
Yeah, to John's point, you have to be obviously a great coach where you're winning a bunch of games every year, but you have to have the longevity. And in this day and age, who has that patience anymore? Some coaches out there will be around for a long time, but it's a special breed. Coaches are a special breed. Okay, so what's going on right now as we are halfway through the month of January in high school basketball here in Memphis?
Well, I spent some time this week with the Bartlett Panthers. We have an article that should be posting soon today on the Daily Memphian website. Caught up with Coach Reel and his men, talking about the two awesome freshmen they have out there, Braylon Williams, the point guard, and DJ Okot, the big man, and getting a chance to watch those guys play. I mean, they're just every bit as good as advertised, Greg. They were recently offered by Coach Hardaway at the University of Memphis, and just seeing these kids at such a young age. I interviewed Braylon and I was joking around with Coach Dion Reel too after I talked to him. You watch these kids play basketball, and it's like they have the talent of much older, sophisticated, individuals. Then you talk to them and look them in the face, and you see, oh yeah, they're 14, 15-year-old kids. They got these little baby faces, and they're very earnest and just like kids are, and it's just an interesting kind of contradiction. But the talent, you got grown up talent in these little these little kid personalities. It's interesting, but it was fun to catch up with them. We also talked to their senior leader, KJ Neville, and that's kind of how the story worked out. You got these really talented young players, but at some point Bartlett's going to have some of their older players step up as well and make plays, and that's where the KJ Nevilles of the world come in. So I'm excited to have everybody read that today when it posts, and I hope everybody does. Hope everybody checks it out.
It's funny that you bring that up, and it's a little bit different, but with Gigi Jackson played with the Hustle Lessons, and we interviewed Gigi after the game last night. And you think about it, and then like, because he is a kid still, and you forget that. And like, we get down, I'm like, yeah, he just turned 20 years old. Like, I'm like, he is a kid. So like, he's just kind of, he's funny, like he's smiling, and he just like, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm still talking to a kid at this point in time. Like, you forget when you watch him play basketball how young some of these guys are until then you talk to him and go, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot what you are.
It's very similar. You see, I was at the game the other night when Bartlett played Collierville, and you see, DJ Okot is 6'5", right? So he blocks a shot on the defensive end. Somebody gets the rebound, they fast break it. He fills the lane on the other side, and gets a dunk on the other end. You see him do this so effortlessly, and then coach says, "Oh yeah, well he just turned 15 in October." So I mean, it's like your eyes are just like popping out of your head. It's like a grown man talent, but it's a 15-year-old kid, a 14-year-old kid. It's just really incredible how advanced some of these kids are. You guys know that I'm always going to defend the old school, and but it's true. A lot of these younger kids are just really, really advanced in the game of basketball. And
physically, like you see some of these guys, you're like, how can that be like a 16-year-old?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense.
Physically, skill wise, the way that the way that Braylon Williams can read the game and kind of run a team as young as he is. It's interesting. Coach Reel had they come in as freshmen after really heralded careers in middle school, and you say, okay, well, it's just middle school. How are they going to translate to high school? And he says, JV, it only took me a couple of practices to kind of see how they were going to translate. I mean, when you've got the real deal, it's obvious.
So you mentioned Penny's offered them. Now he's offered Fred Smith too, correct?
I believe he has. Yeah, Fred Smith, the junior at Briarcrest. And if you want to check out Fred tonight, they're playing at Christian Brothers 7:30 tonight, so that should be a good one.
Is there any other local kids that he's?
I can't off the top of my head. I don't think so. I know he I believe he's offered Cello Jackson, who was sort of local. He was the kid that led FACS to the state championship last year, and now he and Keeper Jackson from Christian Brothers and MJ Hayes, they transferred their Cello's down in Florida for his junior year.
Oh, okay.
So he's sort of local, but beyond that, guys that are strictly still here in town, I think that's just it. Fred and the two Bartley kids.
Well, we've talked about it before as far as reaching out to local players. I'm not sure if he had reached out to anybody for last year's class, but the roster now contains only, if I remember correctly, Dink Yates, he may not be a scholarship player. He may be a scholarship player, but he Played at Fayette Ware.
I believe he was Mr. Basketball.
I think you're right about that, but he was...
memory's so hazy, Greg.
Oh, I know. You got a lot of names swirling around in that brain of yours, but I think he's the only one. They had Raji Phillips, Faraji's son, who was a walk-on. He may still be on the team. I don't know if he is, though. Other than that, there's no local players, correct? On that Memphis roster? I don't believe so.
No, there's not. I mean, there hasn't been a strong local contingent since the East guys graduated, right? Malcolm Dandridge and Lomax.
Well, Musa went to
Musa,
high school.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Musa's return.
He's from Lausanne.
Yeah,
okay,
but for the most part, he's gone away from that, especially now in the era of the transfer portal.
Right.
You can go out and grab all these players and instantly change your team. But it seems like maybe it's a conscious effort now to reach out to some of these talented players and to show that we're here and let's put those offers out early so you know that we're interested.
I would hope. I mean, I'm not going to tell Coach Hardaway how to run his program because he's doing fine without my advice. But traditionally, historically, the backbone of the Memphis program has been Memphis kids, and that's what kind of built up the bond between that program and the fans here locally. You could go see a Penny Hardaway who played at Treadwell, and he would be in the backcourt with guys from Melrose and guys from Whitehaven, and guys from East, and you see these guys play middle school, you see them play high school, then you see them play the Tigers, and that's how that bond grows and how it grew and how the love for the team and the city kind of came together over the years. Obviously, it's different now. The transfer portal has certainly changed things. You know, and frankly, you know, the city of Memphis isn't producing D1 basketball talent like it did back then for whatever reason, you know, where you would send guys to Memphis and at the same time you could send a Robert O'Kelly to Wake Forest, you could send Corey Bradford to Illinois, you could send Ernest Shelton to Alabama and still have plenty of guys left over for the University of Memphis as well.
True.
That's just
True,
not
but then a Cam Jones will slip through and go to Marquette and be
for
one of
sure.
the best players in college basketball.
There's no doubt about it. So it's different from that perspective, and I'm not sure why that's changed. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, if you got a good local guy in your backyard, I mean, if I'm a coach, I'm always going to let them know that I'm interested in, and you got a place here if you're interested in us.
One of those guys, LaRon Black, on the Rip City Remix coaching staff.
How about that, LaRon Black? Now there's a blast from the past.
I saw that photo. Somebody had posted that photo. I'm like, wow, LaRon. I think he may have been on an episode of Sports Files. I'm trying to remember when I hosted Sports Files, but I really enjoyed watching him.
Yeah,
really good. But you're right. Those days when you had so many talented players, you know, Tony Harris, friend of the show, things like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of former area players, but this player played for Memphis. Jeremy Hunt. Congratulations to Jay Hunt.
Got
his jersey his number retired by Craigmont, right?
Craigmont High School. That's always a big deal for those guys when your high school honors you. I mean, but back in the day, Greg, it was so many guys. I mean, you you even had guys like Randy Culpepper, who would go down to Texas El Paso and have a great career. And
the guard Chioza from White Station.
Oh yeah,
those White Station players.
Yeah, I talked about Chris Chioza the other night. Somebody told me he's actually playing in overseas somewhere, still continuing his career.
Yeah,
making some money. His dad Chris is now the coach at St. Benedict, so trying to get that St. Benedict program turned around. So yeah, so many connections. For whatever reason, it's just not the same. Again, the transfer portal has so much to do with that. But if there was ever a way to, kind of refocus the efforts on the local kids, I think that would be a good thing overall.
All right, more with John in just a moment. I want to ask you about what's happening with the girls here in the city. And also a question that was brought up to me yesterday about Derrick Rose and should his number be retired by the Tigers. That's a
thorny subject.
It's a hot-button topic.
You get it? A thorny subject?
Oh, I like it. We'll talk about that when we return. Do want to tell you about Jenkins Floors and More. You know they are our third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. Want to tell you a little bit about them. They're at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. You can call them at 662-469-9350. They invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. They're in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock. They are talking, the top-of-the-line material. Again, wholesale prices. You can't beat it. Hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet. They will get the job done for you in a 2-week turnaround. That's their promise to you. They'll come to you. They'll give you a free estimate. So call them at any time, Monday through Saturday, and they will take care of business for you. 662-469-9350. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Go visit them at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. More with John Varlas when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6. $1 off all travel meals, $5 off meal drinks, $4.50 for house wine, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and more. Friday night lights from 7 o'clock. Dine in by grill, Wednesday, 5 and free. How much Want a cold plunge tub? They start at $49.99. Go the other route with a hot tub. Get $3,000 off with free steps and chemicals. Family Leisure has pool tables, arcades, ping pong, air hockey, even baseball tables from 20 to 60% off. Want beers here? Family Leisure has theater seating up to 75% off. Plus, now's the time to start thinking about pool seats. You can buy it now, get on the installation schedule, and be ready before everyone else. Special financing is also available. Hey, if you want to get free delivery on any of these items, you just tell the phone staff at Family Leisure that you are this commercial. It's the floor model. So now, through the end of January, Family Leisure, we wanted I-40, family and fun, come together.
Hey folks, no time to wait. It's here, the 36th annual January sale going on now at Sunrise Buick GMC in Wolf Case. Didn't get what you wanted for the holidays? That's okay. Now's the time to take care of you. Are you 100% happy with your holiday? Now's the time to get you a new ride. Huge rebates, big discounts, low interest rates, and Sunrise doors, slow pages, no credit. It's all okay at Sunrise.
What happens when former real estate agents want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spencer Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored when former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes or someone has called them asking whom they should use. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I'm good at marketing and I'm part of a nationwide relocation network. Over the years, I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can make the difference in what you make and when. Thinking of selling? Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I'm one of them. Remember what people often say, that when you want the job done, call Shell done. So if you or somebody you know is thinking of selling, remember what other former real estate agents do. They call me at 483-0546 or email me at memphisrelocate.com. Shell Dunn Rosengarten at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Now back to Sports 56 Morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We'll get back to Tigers basketball talk after their loss to Temple. In hour 2, we'll give you a chance to call in, text in. We'll have Matt Dillon join us from Philadelphia for the Tiger basketball report. But right now, talking with our good buddy John Varlos from the Daily Memphian. So we talked about the boys. What's happening with the girls basketball scene in Memphis?
Well, I'll give a quick shout out to Caitlin Mott over at St. Agnes. You know, she's the wife of Jason Mott, the baseball coach at Christian Brothers and the former major leaguer. She and the Stars picked up a huge victory last night. They went to Briarcrest and beat Briarcrest in a region game, and somebody told me that's the first time that St. Agnes has ever beaten Briarcrest.
My daughter's alma mater.
I know it's the first time that they've won under Caitlin Mott, and I don't go back for the whole history of St. Agnes basketball. Mm-hmm. But somebody told me that, and regardless, it's been a long time, if ever, so that's a huge accomplishment for Coach Mott. So shout out to her and her girls. Really great game the other night between Bartlett and Collierville. Collierville was came in. They had the first state rankings of the season this week, and Collierville girls I think they came in like 7th or 8th in Class 4A. They went to Bartlett and played Bartlett, which has been the traditional power here the last couple of years. They finished state runner-up the last 2 years. Their record, you will look at their record, Greg, and you say, oh, man, this team's not very good. They're only, they're hovering around 500 right now. But they played just a tremendously hard non-conference schedule. They did a lot of traveling. They played some tough teams in Texas. They've played a lot of the tougher teams in Tennessee. So they're a much better team than would be indicated by their record. And that came, so that game was kind of the new kids on the block versus the established power, and it came right down to the wire. Bartlett got a bucket late by a young lady named Dakara Ward, who's going to play scholarship basketball, and they won it 49-48. Really, really good girls basketball game. And shout out to Faye Williams from Bartlett. She had a triple-double in that one.
Wow.
15 points, I think 11 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
Good for her. 10 blocks.
Yeah, blocks route.
Yeah, well, she's about 6'2", 6'3", really talented junior player. She had a knee injury last year, missed most of last season, I think, if not all of it, but she's coming back strong this year. And Faye, she's from that famous Williams family. Her two older sisters, twins, they played at University of Memphis. Lynetta Williams and Lenise Williams, they played at Memphis. Her older brother, Rashad, played for Bartlett, and so she's the fourth one in the family. All really, really good basketball players. Their dad, Lance Williams, played at DePaul. And
that's their father, Lance Williams? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't
Lance
know
is
that.
their dad. So that's a basketball family to rival the Lawsons, actually.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Memphis was awarded the cross country state championship.
Yeah, it's a big deal. They went up there and they made a strong bid to the TSSAA. And it's interesting too. The cross country coaches around the state, they formed kind of an association, kind of a little committee, and they felt like, for cross country at least, they felt like it was a really strong thing to rotate the state tournament. They went to the TSSAA with that proposal and kind of said, guys, here's how we see it working. The TSSAA said, yeah, we like that. We can work with you on that. But it was the coaches that actually drove it. So that's kind of how that came into being. Memphis, the course at Shelby Farms, will host the state meet in 2025 and 2026. Presuming all the financials and all the logistics are in order, it will rotate to somewhere in the mid-state or the east 2 years after that, and then whatever's left over 2 years after that. So it'll just rotate to west, middle, east. But yeah,
most contracts are 2-year deals. When
for
sports events and things like that.
I don't know for basketball and football. I think it's probably longer than that.
Okay,
I know they're working on a contract right now to keep the Blue Cross Bowl in Chattanooga, because Chattanooga does a really good job with that, and apparently the TSSAA is happy with the job they're doing. So I know they're working on that. But some of these quote unquote minor sports, the contracts I believe are shorter. And yeah, so Memphis put together a really good bid. Shout out to Nick Dwyer at Christian Brothers, the coach there, and his team. They did a fantastic job, and they won the day.
Good, congratulations
it's really
to Nick and all the coaches.
It's been 20 years, Greg Gaston, since there has been a state championship event held in the city of Memphis.
20 years.
They had Spring Fling here in 2005.
Used to cover it.
That was
TV.
that long ago that Spring Fling was here. I remember that.
And as near as I can tell, that was the last time that there's been a state championship.
That's shocking.
In Memphis.
That is shocking. Okay, real quick, we don't have a lot of time. Yesterday online, and then I was asked by Brett and Bryant during my segment on their show.
I heard that segment. You were very diplomatic.
Yeah, I guess I was. I try to be diplomatic.
Yeah, I can't believe you would pick donuts over dollars, though.
No, back in the day I said was donuts. Now it's definitely dollars.
Definitely dollars. Because you pick the dollars, and then you can buy donuts, and you still have dollars.
That's right. Smart.
Can't buy dollars with donuts.
Smart reasoning there, John. All right, so the debate. It was weird because yesterday there was two things going on.
Could sell the donuts.
One, I think somebody was bored and came up with Penny Hardaway is looking at other colleges, which is a bunch of crap.
That was interesting.
Yeah, he may be looking at the NBA, but I wouldn't believe anything you read on the internet as far as that's concerned. However, the debate about Derrick Rose is interesting. Chris Douglas Roberts, and we're going to talk about the M Club Hall of Fame class coming up in our second hour. It was announced yesterday. Chris Douglas Roberts going into the University of Memphis M Club Hall of Fame. But his number's not retired yet. None of the guys from that 2008 runner-up team, national runner-up team, have their numbers retired. There is precedent of one-year guys having their number retired with Larry Keenan, a one-year guy. Penny played 2 years. What is your thoughts on Derrick Rose having his number retired, only playing 1 year, and really being let's say the first one of that group to have his number retired?
And here's what I'll say about Larry Keenan. And if I'm wrong about this, I hope somebody will correct me, but I don't know if the recruitment of Larry Keenan got the University of Memphis in trouble like the recruitment of Derrick Rose did. And I think that might be, the stumbling block to retiring his number if there is one, because, although he was a great player during his year at Memphis, he led him to the championship game. There was all that attendant baggage surrounding his recruitment, and then, of course, what happened afterwards. So maybe that has something to do with not retiring his number. I'm with you, Greg. If they ultimately choose to hang his number 23 in the rafters, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not one of these guys that says, "Oh, your number shouldn't be retired," or "No, you're not a Hall of Famer." I don't get into all that. If your peers think think you are, if you think you're deserving, that's fine with me. That might be the only drawback I would see to retiring his number.
But shouldn't CDRs be up there first?
Yeah, CDR
was an All-American.
Was he there? And he was there for what? At least 3 or 4 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Greg, I even saw people debating that they should not, that the Chicago Bulls shouldn't retire Derrick Rose's number. And I'm like, well, what are you guys talking about? If
he was an MVP?
Yeah. If the Bulls aren't going to retire Derrick Rose's number, well, then who will?
Exactly.
He was a great Bull. Even though his peak was, short compared to others. He certainly the Bulls. I just don't understand it. Like I said, if they want to do it, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just putting out the reason where it might be controversial in some quarters or something that the university doesn't even want to do because of the fallout from his tenure here.
It's certainly an interesting topic to debate, no question. John, great stuff as always.
Thank you, guys. Hope you have a wonderful Friday, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to John next Friday, and make sure to read all his great stuff at the Daily Memphian. Follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. We'll take a break. Hour 2 on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to doors. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for seats or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. But we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear. Please listen carefully for our menu listing. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering. Or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of the mother's maiden name, dial it back. Come see us at the Rendezvous. Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a mother pheasant plucker, I pluck mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Fiveash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CARE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CARE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CARE to 200-300. That's CARE to 200-300. CARE to 200-300.
Classic style meets modern design in your new Volkswagen from Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Take your pick from 2025 Jetta Sport or 2024 Volkswagen Taos SE. Get yours for $249 a month. Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike says come get 2024 Tiguan S or 2025 Jetta SE, now $279 a month. Plus all 2024 Atlas SEL Peak Editions, $5,000 off MSRP. So get to Gossett Volkswagen today, 1875 Covington Pike, online, GossettVWMemphis.com. And remember, no reasonable offer will be refused. Gossett's where we're charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen. 7,500 miles, Jetta Sport, SMO 45898, MSRP 25416, Taos SE, RMO 56983, MSRP 31939, T1S, RM 144,331, MSRP 31363, Jetta SE, SMO 10792, MSRP 28321, Atlas 3500 bonus customer cash, 1500 Gossett discount, excludes tax on the license, includes all rebates and incentives, P of 695 with approved credit, well qualified buyer, offer valid through end of the month.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's trying to pick up out here in a couple of spots southbound Austin P, trying to get up on that ramp there to I-40. I-40 looks good at the moment over here at Watkins at the 101 connector. It's trying to pick up a little bit more volume on 40 east across the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over right now from West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry, they're located 7525 Highway 64. They are your Valentine's Day headquarters. Go see them this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Diamonds are forever. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:05, the time, hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Friday, January 17th, 2025 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers, and a cast of thousands here in the Family Leisure Studios. Very crowded in here. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 39 degrees. It'll warm up to 59 today. We'll see a lot of sun, and then the clouds will start to roll in. Occasional showers later this afternoon into the evening, and then steady rain overnight. Chance of rain about 40%, so it's not a 100% shot, but you got a good shot. There will be some precipitation. And then tomorrow, we're looking at cloudy skies, a high of 51. Then Sunday, sun, clouds mixed with a high of only 30. And an overnight low Saturday into Sunday morning, 15 degrees. Yes, the Arctic cold is coming back to Memphis. Hour 2 of the program brought to you each and every day by the great folks at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar Avenue in the heart of East Memphis. It's right between Mendenhall and St. Nick. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. And every Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know? Former Memphis Tigers women's hoop star Tamika Whitmore, who was just fantastic to watch and cover, she will have her number 44 jersey retired, finally, March 1st, 2025 at halftime of the Memphis game versus Tulsa. She will be the first jersey retired for the program since 1986. I don't know why it's taken this long. Tamika was not only an outstanding player in college, she went on to play in the WNBA, was an all-star. By the way, she led the nation in scoring in 1999. So congratulations to Tamika Whitmore. And again, this weekend, you're in the market for some jewelry, whether it's an engagement ring, you're looking to pop the question this spring or whenever, this summer, or you're just looking for a beautiful watch or necklace of some type, bracelets, pendants, just beautiful jewelry. Head on over to James Gaddis Jewelers. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. So if you need a simple cleaning or a resetting of your rock or whatever it is that you may have an issue, they can take care of it for you. James Gaddis Jewelers. Okay. For those who were not with us to start the show, obviously we talked a lot about the Tigers' loss last night in Philadelphia against Temple, 88-81. Disappointing performance. The loss Quadrant 2 loss, it's not the end of the world. However, just the way they played, the way they were out-rebounded, the way they were physically manhandled, that was disappointing. This is your opportunity, if you didn't get a chance earlier, to text in, or you can call in on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. We will have Matt Dillon from Philadelphia on at 8:25, and then in hour 310 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. Then we'll dive into some handicapping with Brandon Lang, talk NFL divisional round playoffs, 2 games tomorrow, 2 Sunday, and then the national championship game Monday night between Ohio State and Notre Dame. But if you want to talk some Memphis Tigers basketball, this is the time. As I said, afterwards, the assembled media, which Jason Munz, Parthu Pajai, part of that, Penny was asked if he was worried. He said, not worried yet, but certainly concerned. I can't imagine you don't walk out of that game and and there's no concern. There has to be concern after you were, again, physically manhandled by that Temple team.
Well, the rebounding has to be a concern because it's been a problem all year long. And that's, something they have not been able to fix. Again, the turnovers weren't the issue last night, or weren't an issue last night. They've been an issue for most of the year, but the last night, that was not the problem. However, the rebounding, which has been a problem all year long, was a massive problem. And giving up 22 offensive rebounds is just really inexcusable. And the second chance points, they only lost by 3. But again, it's not. You shouldn't be losing that at all. I mean, you should not be giving up basically almost as many offensive rebounds as you got total rebounds.
Jamal Mashburn Jr., the transfer from New Mexico, went for 21 points. Only 4 of 16 from the field, but he got to the free throw line 12 times, made 11 of those 12 free throw attempts, and it was some really good gang rebounding. And then they had number 55, Shane, what was his name, DeZorny. He had 13 himself. 22 offensive rebounds, as you mentioned. Memphis only 25 total. That's how bad they were beaten on the boards. Let's go to your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Dennis, start us up. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Look, man, I just a couple quick points. Like you were saying about the practice, I heard Matt say the same thing, and I've said before when you guys give me the opportunity to voice my opinion on this show, which I appreciate. The great Mike Tyson said it. Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. I mean, right. and these guys, man, like you were saying about the motivation, and I love Penny. Once again, like I said, you guys give me an opportunity to always praise Penny, but I'm beginning to wonder, not about the X's and O's, is he a motivator? Like, can he motivate these guys? I'm not saying fire him or none of that crazy stuff, but I'm just, man, because the contrast is so stark. Like, I mean, you play Michigan State, look good. You play Connecticut, look good. I mean, you play Ole Miss, and look good. And then when you play these guys, 22 offensive rebounds is absurd, man. That's absurd, man. And the little crazy guy, UConn, I mean, he's a motivator. I mean, Kansas, be yourself. They're motivators. And like I said, I'm not throwing King out of the bus, but I was just wondering why I was woke all night about this loss. I was just thinking, man, like, I don't know, like, if he can motivate guys because he was so good at what he did. He kind of thinks everybody, can do it like that. And I just don't know, man. And the last thing I like to say, if P.J. Haggerty, like you said, Greg, I can't blame it on P.J., but if he hits those free throws, I think it's a different game. So, that's just my little soapbox, man. Thank you guys for letting me talk.
Thank you, Dennis. Absolutely. Anytime. 360-8255. Look, they say rebounding. Most of that is just the effort. I think there's also the skill. You have to be in the right position. That's why guys like Charles Barkley, they were such good rebounders. Omar Sneed for Memphis, who was not a big guy, but he got himself in position to rebound. You got to be in position. Memphis was out of position so many times for long rebounds in that game yesterday. And then their communication defensively, their switch defense was so bad, it left guys wide open, and give Temple credit. They were knocking down threes. Melvin is next up on the program. Hi, Melvin.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing okay, thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I I'm surprised we only dropped 4 spots in the net. You know, 2 bars, 2 loss. And so that's the thing. And, you know, we've been saying we're going to stick a loss, but, you know, like I call in, like, you know, hey, y'all know I'm a big Penny fan, but I call it how it is. And I've been calling in whenever we be winning, right?
Yes.
The stuff he does, it's like the call just said, you know, I hate when the people, you know, when we do, they say 5-10, all this, the Miami stuff. Look, he does the same. Look, it's the same thing happened with this year and last year. The players are different. The coaches are the same. Like, you remember last, I remember calling the first, you called game. You remember last year, first play at Wichita State. They switched and they leaving guys open. They came back that game and it ended up forward. So last week, I'm at the East Carolina game, right? In the first half, he put Harris and a coach and 2 guys that can't shoot. And this fan, we like, what is he doing? Then after the game, you know what he say? They played game zone the whole game, but you played your non-shooter. Yesterday, he said in the post game, he said we knew they were gonna crash the board. Now this game 17, right? He went to a 4-guy lineup 5 minutes into the game. 4-guy lineup. This game 17. Now we changing out. Now we a pressure team. That's the stuff that people said, man. I hate them. He get another player, he gonna screw the whole rotation up. And what is he doing? Like, that guy's okay. You need him. If one of the guys want to get 5 minutes out, you can put him and Carter and what's the name, man? The big man. You sub 3 guys.
Danger.
You got 8-man rotation. Barack Okoji is terrible. You know, him and Harris are terrible offense. I mean, let's think about it. These guys make A-Lo offense make A-Lo look like Tyler Harris. They ain't hit a jump shot all year. So the stuff Pickett does, it don't make sense. Like, you saying they gonna crash the ball, you playing 4-guy lineup. Now you taking Kobe Bryant, he's out of his game. Then you think PJ Head gonna bail him out like the game that we beat North Texas. He hit 3 incredible threes, or you lose that game. You can't expect that guy to bail you out. You supposed to when it's slow at first, you got to run the ball.
Yeah, Melvin, we're losing you, my friend. We're losing you with the connection, but thank you. Got your point, and it's a great point. Look, there's a lot of dependency on Haggerty to pull him out in the end, and he wasn't able to do it in this particular game. But yes, you go to a 4-guard lineup, there's a good chance you're going to be out-rebounded. But my gosh, I mean, it was such a decisive advantage for Temple, but it was mostly in the right position. Out-hustling Memphis, out-physicaling the team to get in position to rebound. That's the thing that is concerning.
It is, the point he makes is that, Dante Harris last night gets 16 minutes. So he has come in, and now he is the 7th guy. Like, he's jumped over all those other guys. He is now that 7th guy. And I don't know what kind of effect that has on anything or whatever, but it is interesting. Last year they added a guy in the middle of the season, and he immediately part of the rotation here. Harris comes in, and he immediately becomes part of the rotation, and some of these other guys get knocked down even one more spot.
Okay, and he played over 20 minutes against East Carolina. I said it in hour number 1. It's scary, the similarities to last year. Go back to that East Carolina game. Now, they won that game. But the comparisons to the Ice Bowl last year, and then this game with the snow, and they almost blew the big lead like they did again, but they won. Now they turn around, and you mentioned earlier the dates and the comparisons to last year, and this point about the new player. I don't think they're going down that path. I don't think so. That's why they better rectify this situation real quick. Put a fork in it, get it fixed. It's one game. It's a quadrant 2 loss. It's not the end of the world, but it could snowball. That's the problem. That's the worry. And the whole talk online about, no wonder they lost the game because they were not in their right mind. They were thinking about the coach leaving to go to shut up. That's just internet rumor out there. That's a bunch of crap. I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't think Penny Hardaway is going anywhere unless, and we've talked about this before, there's an NBA offer, and I'm not even saying a head coaching offer. If there's a good offer, he'll look at that in the NBA. I think ultimately he would like to be an NBA coach. But I don't think for a second there's any truth to the stuff you're reading about that. And that was not the disruption. That's not the excuse for what happened in the loss last night in Philadelphia. JoJo is next. JoJo, how are you?
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Hey, so
I think I clicked the game on midway through the second when I think they were down 10 or 12 or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But they're feeding. Okay, so the Memphis Tigers have no sense of identity on offense, and it's been that way for a couple of years. And I've never thought Hardaway was the answer. When he initially got hired, it was cool, but he hasn't done anything. He really hasn't. All right, let me get back to the game. So watching the game, guys, feed the big man until they can't stop him. They had Temple defenders draping on him, and guys were literally fouling out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Brought the lead within 5. I thought they might have tied it or taken a lead or whatever.
They got it to within one possession. They got it down to 3, and then they missed a couple of free throws. And
it's the tale that's old as time with Hardaway. He can't close out games that he needs to close out. I know it's a quad 2 loss, but it's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah, no denying it. No denying it. JoJo, thank you, man. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, it's, put your foot on their throats. East Carolina, 18-point lead or whatever it was, and you end up winning by the skin of your, by the skin, the chin of your, whatever the hell that saying is. What is that saying?
Chinny chin.
Hair of your chinny chin chin. Thank you very much.
Skin of your teeth.
Skin of your teeth. Whatever the hell it is. But the point is that you have to not only win these games, you have to win decisively because the net equation takes into consideration margin of victory. So last night, not only did you not win, right? I mean, you're losing net rankings. I am surprised, like one of our callers said, that they didn't drop more, but they did drop 4 spots. But that's because it was a quad 2. That was a home loss. Like it could have been disastrous if it was East Carolina. But I think JoJo makes some good points as well. Dwayne is next. Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, what's going on, Greg?
How you doing?
Hardaway's story is repeating itself. It's just like roll the ball out. There's a guard-laden team. He's going to let guards run the show. And the big men's going to have to scrap and fight for everything they can get. There is no structure. I've been saying this for years. He don't have any structure. Right now, he told you everything that he tried during last night. Sounds to me like he was panicking. And the reason he's panicking because he don't have structure. There's no, hey, look, we're going to pound this ball inside, make them adjust to us. No, we always adjust to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
And we say we're going to shoot as many threes as we can. I want these guys shooting more threes. But the problem with that is the big men need to eat too.
Yeah.
Like the guy caller just said, feed them until they can't feed them no more. I'm sorry, you have to do that. Hardaway really wants to just roll the ball out and let the guys, because when he had Williams, he had a guy on the court who could basically run the show. He let them run the show. And that's a problem. You cannot do it. At some point in a game during the year, you have to coach teams to victory. And I'm sorry, we just hadn't seen it in a long time.
All right.
And that's the road we're heading down the rest of the year now. I hope there's no foul up in Charlotte. I'm just going to be real. I see the Tigers. I hope
that
I'm
would
wrong.
be a disaster.
I see the Tigers. I hope I'm wrong. If they get in the tournament, they're one and done. Because at our best, we can be anybody. At our worst, we can lose to everybody.
Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate it. I mean, when you're beating the likes of Connecticut and Michigan State and Ole Miss and Clemson, there's got to be structure. There has to be structure to win those games. You're doing something right. So, again, the sky's not falling, but I do agree with, feeding Danger. The problem is with these bigs for Memphis. Danger is a liability defensively, but is a really good offensive player. Then you have Cisse, who's not a really good offensive player. He did hit a few free throws, though, but he is better defensively, although out of position a lot last night. I thought Jourdain was trying too hard because he was home. He was back in Philadelphia, back at Temple where he played, and he just was out of position all night long. He did not have a good game. And then if you're playing your 4-guard lineup, you're going to have a deficiency in rebounding. It shouldn't be this bad. But one of the texters made a point about pace. Memphis should be dictating pace. And they've done that against the better teams. But they weren't able to dictate pace against North Texas, but still won. And then against Temple, they certainly were not able to dictate pace. Now, they came out trying to press them. They were trying to press them into oblivion, and it didn't work. Temple was able to break that press pretty well, so I give them credit for that. But again, the rebounding, that is a major, and we'll talk to Matt Dillon here in just a moment. I mean, how do you rectify that situation? Because again, Dange is not, he's okay as a rebounder. Cisse you would think would be better, but Cisse had 3 rebounds last night. The guards have to pound the boards, and they've done a decent job all year long, but they are really forced to have to rebound because of the deficiency of the bigs. All right, one more call before the break. That goes to CD. Hey, CD.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you two today?
Good. I hope you're doing well. Good.
I am okay. Enough of this. The Memphis Tigers basketball team as a whole refuse to believe that every game they go to involved is a Super Bowl for the team they are playing. For some reason, they don't get that. It's their Super Bowl to that team they playing. And finally, your big men, I'm tired of the excuses. If they don't get the ball early, they are no good. And their basketball IQ is pathetic. It's simple. Your big man, if they don't get the ball early, they are no good to you, and their basketball IQ is pathetic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, CD. Appreciate the phone call. On that note, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll get the thoughts of Tigers radio basketball analyst Matt Dillon from Philadelphia. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour for free sales. $1 off all draft meals, $5 off meal drinks, $4.50 for house wine, mozzarella sticks, queso, $4 a day. Friday night ice cream, 7 Club, dining in Montreal, Wednesday, 5 and free. How much college football in every pro game? All in the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Highway 70, fall is football.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
For 75 years, Americans have been falling in love with Volkswagen, and we've gossip Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's up over there, Marty McMahon?
New Year means big savings. Take your pick lane from a 2025 Jetta Sport or 2024 Volkswagen Taos SE, $249 a month.
Jetta or Taos, $249 a month. What else you got?
2024 Tiguan S or 2025 Jetta SE, $279 a month.
Tiguan S or Jetta SE, $279 a month?
That's right. And all 2024 Atlas SELT tickets, $5,000 off MSRP.
So get to Gossip Volkswagen Germantown and ask for Marty McNay.
Remember, your future is what you make it.
That's Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road. Online, gossipvwg.com.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party pack six-packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. Commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Good morning. We're still seeing a little bit of volume develop over here at times. 40 westbound between Germantown Parkway and Sycamore View Road. It's a little bit busy. Certain sections of Austin P, especially southbound, working your way up on that ramp there to I-40, coming up through South Haven. Not bad, actually, on 55 northbound, coming up from DeSoto County all the way into South Memphis. It's still moving 40 east across the Hernando DeSoto Bridge. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:30 the time, halfway home on this Friday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Got a little breaking Memphis Tigers football portal news we'll get to a little bit later on in the hour. We'll talk NFL divisional round playoffs coming up in hour number 3. Brandon Lang will handicap that for you. Also, 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. But now time to talk some more Memphis Tigers basketball, and we do so with our good friend, the Professor Matt Dillon, Tigers radio analyst. He joins us from Philadelphia. The Tiger Basketball Report is brought to you by Binswanger Glass, Central Barbecue, by Colonial Hardware, and Napa Cafe. First of all, Matt, good morning to you. Second of all, on a concern meter with 10 being the highest, 0 the lowest, how high you going right now?
Well, I'm probably 6 or 7 right now, I think, to be honest about you. One thing I learned from college, I took some psychology courses. Didn't do much good for me, guys, to be honest with you. Yesterday, shoot-around, Greg and Eli, it had been one of the best practices I had seen in probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we talked about that. I heard that.
Yeah, everybody's in tune. Everybody was really focused and ready to go, and I said, man, they're going to be in great shape. Didn't do it. And what happened from the onset, and this really kind of threw me back a little bit, you look over and you see Temple, and they played with a lot of fire last night. You know, Fern got those guys going. They came after the Tigers physically, and we just didn't stand up to the test. I'll be perfectly honest about it. And I was really surprised at that. That's really not a difficult place to play, guys, to be honest. You know, they had T-shirt night last night, and it really wasn't that full. And, you know, they were kind of sitting back and waiting for it to happen. Then you got a 15-point lead. And, you know, and I think the Tigers said, we'll come back. They did come back in the second half, but it shows you got to play the full 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't play that, and the physicality was – I was really surprised at what they were able to do. I mean, you talk about a 6'4" kid actually tore him up last night inside. You know, he had a great game, 15 and 13, and just wanted it more. I don't understand that situation. I don't know if they just took them, you know, say, they're a team that's at the bottom half of the league, and we can come out and just, you know, come back in the second half. Haggerty, very poor first half, and they got in a hole. And you guys know it, too. You guys do games. You get 15 down on the road, you better play some pretty good basketball coming back. That's very difficult to do psychologically and physically, the way that I thought last night that Temple was able to do.
So the rebounding is not a new issue. It's been a problem all year long. You know, people will say rebounding is just simply, you know, effort. Like, you just got to want it. Why do you believe that the rebounding is such an issue?
finesse. They're trying to play that way. And I'm not knocking individual players, but you think about it. I mean, look at the rebound totals. I mean, 22 offensive rebounds by the other team. They just wanted it. I mean, you got to find a player that you're supposed to pick up, and you got to put a body on him and get physical. Didn't do it last night. A lot of weak side rebounds on the other side. You know, they didn't tip in and get putbacks necessarily, Eli. They kept possessions alive, and that was a big thing. They'd throw it out, and they'd hit a three or do something else, and you've got to want it. Guys would go in and take the ball away from a couple of players. Remember, on the other end away from us, two Tigers that were going for the ball. This guy goes in, picks the ball up, and takes it, and boom, and scores. And both the guys were looking at each other. Well, I guess you were going to get it. Well, I was going to get no. You go get the basketball. That really disturbed me a little bit last night, to be honest with you. I did not think they got aggressive to meet that physicality, and I know they talked about that all year long, being more physical. They just weren't able to do it.
I thought they were out of position for a lot of those long rebounds. I also thought their communication, which has been pretty good on defense this year, was awful. I thought it was the worst, Matt. I thought when they were having their switches after picks or screens from Temple and you'd have to switch up, that they were out of position, and that's why they were getting open threes from the wing.
I agree with you that they did not communicate properly, and that was one of the things that I put in the keys of the game last night on our broadcast. You got to communicate against this team. They run a lot of good stuff in the half court. I got to give them credit now, and they stick to what they were doing. They had a game plan, guys, and they came out, and he said, this is what I want you guys to do, and they followed that game plan to a T. They're not a great ball-handling team. They didn't turn it over a lot. I thought the Tigers would absolutely get them to turn it over. They got 15, but a lot of them came after the game was really probably settled. I mean, at the end there, they just didn't play with any intensity. You know, you got to want to go get it. But defense, when you switch and you try to get on guys, now Mashburn is a guy that you got to find all over. He really hurt them with some big shots at times as well,
and got to the free throw line.
And he did. He 11 out of 12. It's pretty good, guys. Settled, hit a couple of big threes in a row in the first half. Really got them going. They got that run. I think we were kind of back on our heels a little bit, thinking, "Oh, wait, man, they can't do this to us." Well, they did, and certainly, I really thought that the big shot in that game in the second half was when Rogers had that open three. He missed it, would have cut it down to 3, and he did not have a good game last night. And that was another thing too. He got beat on defense some last night. He really didn't score very much, and it's funny about him when he scores, guys. He gets involved in more things. And last night he just kind of disappeared. And that's you got to have those three guys. When they're playing good, those three guards, Tigers hard to beat. When one of them's not playing well, it becomes more difficult. And here's danger. I mean, the guy's huge. I mean, he got pushed around by both of their guys. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised at that. And coming from the Big Ten in Illinois, you think he would be a guy that would be physical. Didn't do it. Musa, I don't know. I call him a yo-yo player sometimes. He'll look great, and he'll come right back and just, why is he not doing anything? You know, right. He got 8 points, but didn't rebound last night. He had 3 rebounds in this game. That's amazing with his length and the way he can run the floor. Just didn't do it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're starting front line of Jourdain and Cisse. They can play to combine 42 minutes and got 6 total rebounds.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for Nicholas in a way. I think he was really trying too hard.
Yes,
I really
agree. I said that earlier.
You know, yeah, he had 12. You know, members of his family were there, and he wanted to come back and do good. And he's a great kid, though. I mean, he really is. He's one of the nicest kids on that team. I just thought he was pressing a little bit. And, again, the physicality, he's not a physical player. He's a finesse player as well, and he just got pushed around. And I felt kind of bad for him.
Matt Dillon joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines from Philadelphia. The Tiger Basketball Report brought to you by Napa Cafe, Colonial Hardware, Central Barbecue, Binswanger Glass. I thought another big sequence in that game was when Memphis got it down to 1 possession, and Haggerty, who they're dependent on so much, unable to make those free throws. And then there was the other shot that rolled around the rim and rolled out, and he got fouled on that play. Could have been a 3-point play.
Yes.
I hate to say anything that it's on Haggerty, but it seems like every game comes down to P.J. Haggerty making plays. And I tweeted out, I said, if Haggerty isn't making shots and missing some free throws, it's probably not going to be your night.
I agree. I think one thing they did, they really crowded him last night.
They
and
did.
I think it bothered him. It got him out of kilter. I don't know what it was in the first half. He just looked like he was not there physically and mentally. But he got some calls, went to free throw line 13 times, but 0 of 2 from 3. I think they said, hey, we're going to crowd him. He's got to drive the ball, and we're going to stop the gaps where he can't get as much as he wants to do. But he's a crafty guy going the line. There's no question about it. But he's got to hit some threes to kind of get him off of him a little bit. Once he gets a first step going to the gaps in the defense, I think he's pretty hard to stop. The zone bothered him. It's funny because at points, and I think I've said this to you, Greg, privately, we've talked about it a little bit. I'm surprised more people don't zone the Tigers. I'm really amazed because if you don't, you let Haggerty drive the ball, and that's what he wants to do. And he give him any kind of space at all. He's very good at doing that. And he'll take punishment. I thought he got tired a little bit in the second half. I think they pushed him, grabbed him, bumped him as he goes by, things like that. And that wears you down a little bit. And I thought he got a little bit fatigued. That's probably the reason he missed those free throws. You just don't see him miss free throws like that. Very, very surprising. 9 of 13. I know that's great for me and you and everybody else, but for him, he can go 12 of 13, 13 of 13. He's that good at the free throw line. So, yeah, he got fatigued a little bit. I think Hunter came on with us last night. There's so much responsibility on him. He's a tremendous player. I really like him. I think he's a player that really has got them going in the right direction. I think they depend on him for so much. And, he took a 3 from the corner. It was a big one. He didn't hit anything. He whiffed way to the left, which I just don't see him doing it very often. And, over a course of a season, and again, we talked about minutes, they're still playing up there 35, 30, whatever. And it's got to take a toll on this team. And hopefully, again, you can develop some depth. And we were talking about that on the show here, but you can't take a chance. You're worried about losing to one of these teams, so you got to keep playing guys and keep winning to keep, hopes of getting a great seed. Now, I don't know how much they dropped. They're probably down to the 40s, I guess, maybe in the net.
41.
So, I think 41.
Yeah.
So it dropped them a little bit. And, of course, you take teams for granted. I think, and Eli, I think you've probably seen this too in the SEC. When you get conference play, it's a different animal. It's a grind. It really is. And, there's people that know you and, guys over there. And it's just a different atmosphere than going playing somebody at a conference where you see them, maybe one time in a year or so. And intensity's there as well. And I'll tell you, that Temple was ready to play. And that team, they came out with a focus. And once they got that lead, I said, man, this is going to be a very difficult game, and it was.
Yeah, but that and I thought the same thing, although I thought Memphis would pull it out because I thought Haggerty would help them pull it out, and it didn't happen. But every one of these teams that they're going to face, and I know people get tired of the whole, they're everybody's Super Bowl. Well, in this league, they are. And they're going to face it. Charlotte's a bad team on Sunday, but they're going to be ready to go. They're going to have their T-shirt game and their whiteout and all that. So it's going to be a gauntlet every time. Now, I don't know if this is going to help people recover from that loss last night that are Tigers fans. But this week so far, AP top 25 teams are just 12 and 11. Last night, 3 ranked teams played. Memphis lost, Michigan lost, Gonzaga lost. All 3 of them on the road lost. The latter 2 in overtime, but it hasn't been a banner week for the top 25.
The thing you talk about, and again with the minutes, that's where you go back to the East Carolina game. If you end up blowing them out like you should have, then you don't have to play those guys those minutes. Those minutes, the rest should come from the blowouts that you should get. Sunday at Charlotte, you got to blow that team out. That team's terrible. You have to. That's where you need to be able to give Haggerty and Hunter a break because they aren't needed in the second half of the game because you're killing a team. Because if you go in there and lose, well, now we got a whole new ball of wax. Because Charlotte,
that
really
changes
bad.
the complexion of it. You're right, Eli. I think that's one of the things you got to go in and out. They're not a very good team. You're absolutely correct about that. They haven't won a game in the league. They're 8th in one poll and they're 11th in the other in the preseason. So here you are again. You got a mental challenge. You're going to go in there coming off a loss. Man, I'd be slobbering at the bit trying to get out there. I hope that's the case. But the other thing, again, let's go back to the bigs for a second. Those guys have to get involved and be more physical. If they don't do that, it's going to be a difficult situation. Now, I've just never seen physicality just go to one team the way it did. We just didn't fight back. Loose balls, 50-50, they never got any hardly. And I was really surprised at that. And I think they said, well, we're going to come back in the back of their minds. And they've done it, this year. There's some close games. You look down the schedule, there's 3 or 4 games could have gone the other way if the Tigers hadn't played good right at the end. So,
Matt, I'm sorry.
No, that's one of the things, you can't keep depending on that. You just can't. You've got to be ready to go the entire 40 minutes. And I just didn't think they played in spurts. And when you're the hunted team and you're on the road, you can't do that and be successful a lot.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, they played in spurts. But what I think was the most disheartening thing to me was down the stretch, final 5-6 minutes, they get back into the ball game. They could not get a stop. Temple made 6 or 7 shots in a row. They got inside the paint, up and unders, or drew a foul, but when they shot it, they made it. And then there was the one sequence, which was, I think, a microcosm of the game, when they got 4 offensive rebounds and were able to score on the one possession. And that just can't happen. That's, I think, the most disheartening thing that I saw last night from the Tigers.
That possession was a big possession. You're right. They got 4 offensive rebounds and then converted. You're exactly right. And didn't communicate on the defensive end. Right. I thought the same thing. Just get a stop here and stop there. A couple of times, you're fine. They just didn't do it. And I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if mentally you get down. That's what I was talking about. You get on, down on the road. If you're that far down, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to come back. And it takes a little bit out of you as well. I think when you do that, and again, that's not a difficult place to play. I mean, I've been up there when it's like, you can echo through the place. I mean, honestly, they had a pretty good crowd there, T-shirt night and all that kind of stuff, but not a great place to really worry about. And I just think they took them a little bit too light and they got too far away and they couldn't convert and make big plays. But I think that sequence of not communicating with the defense too was really big. They got some looks and they ran their offense and defensive sets. They stayed exactly what that coach wanted to do. And you got to give them credit. I mean, they hung with it. And I know being at home makes a difference. If you're going to get a chance at the second time, it's going to be interesting to see when they come to Memphis and see how that game goes. But the final thing, and I think the team, they came back last night. We're going to Charlotte. We're flying and staying up here. And I just hope that going back and forth, maybe they get home and kind of get mentally focused again because Charlotte's going to be ready, fellas. Now, I'm telling you, they saw this score and probably got a tape and they're showing their team, hey, you do this, you got a shot. And they're backs to the wall. Yep. I mean, they got to do something. So I think you're going to be very intriguing to see how the Tigers handle this.
The good thing is Charlotte is a terrible offensive rebounding
team. Yes, they are.
And they don't force turnovers. Like, it's the perfect matchup. Again, your worry meter at 6 or 7 now, they lose to Charlotte, it better be at about 100.
Yeah, they really do. And they're a terrible rebounding team, too. Yeah. I mean, they're like almost 4 rebounds down a year, something 3+. So if they out-rebound you, man, that's going to be a real test to see what that's going to do. Last night, Coach Harlow was on with us, and he said something about the guards won't rebound. I mean, that's fine. I mean, but you got to have 2 big guys in there rebounding, too. They just didn't do it. I'll be honest with you. You got to want that basketball, fellas. And that's the thing that you see a lot of guys that aren't talented, but they put that desire, put a body on somebody. They go all out trying to get off the glass. And look, in NBA, you see guys playing NBA all the time a rebound. If they go out and do that, they're going to get some minutes on teams.
No question.
That's exactly. They're going to work on that. I guarantee you in practice. Rebounding.
They better.
They've got to get it corrected.
Jordan, 21 minutes. Cisse, just about 21 minutes, and they both had 3 rebounds. You got to be better than that. All right, Matt, safe travels to Charlotte. Look, there's some good rebounding teams coming up. UAB is going to be a challenge, but it starts with Charlotte. They got to take care of business. As Eli said, they got to blow those guys out. We appreciate it, Matt. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Put them through on Sunday. Going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Thank you, Matt. That is Matt Dillon, the professor, Tigers radio basketball analyst. And it's the Tiger Basketball Report brought to you by Binswanger Glass, Central Barbecue, Colonial Hardware, and Napa Cafe. You are absolutely right. This is a bad team they're playing, and if they have trouble with this team on the boards, I mean, what's going to happen when they play a couple of these other teams in conference that are good rebounding teams? We'll take a break. When we come back, we got that breaking Memphis football portal news and talk about the loss of one of the legends of baseball, more from the broadcasting side of things, but a former player. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Designed to maximize your workouts and minimize your time. An exercise coach gives you personal workouts like one-on-one with a trainer. Check out the exercise coach at exercisecoach.com/Lakeland or exercisecoach.com/Carly. Sign up for sleep exercise coach. Any rage, injury, or knowledge. If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham. I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We talked about the future of the portal and the schedule. Harold Grader was on with us at the coaches meeting in Charlotte, that they want more structure. They would like to limit when the portal's open, and I can completely understand that. But right now, it is still wide open for any time, anywhere, it seems like. And Memphis has struck again, according to, the man himself, Joey Hunter, who is a defensive back from Akron, good player, has announced that he's 100% committed to the University of Memphis. You can never have enough quality defensive backs. And again, Joey Hunter announcing himself on Twitter. And then Brian Moss followed it up with, "We told you Memphis wasn't done yet." He's, of course, from Rivals, who ranked Memphis number 1. Joey Hunter commits to the University of Memphis. Yesterday, we lost a legend in many regards. Hall of Fame broadcaster Bob Uecker passed away at the age of 90. Hall of Famer from just being a great broadcaster for the Brewers for all those years. Really, in the eyes of many people, a Hall of Famer with his comedic styles, acting, whether it be in motion pictures like Major League or all those Miller Lite ads and other things, or his appearances on The Tonight Show, which were always hilarious. Always had Johnny Carson splitting his side from laughter. Played for a number of years in the bigs. Wasn't a great player. Played in St. Louis for 2 years. He was a member of that 64 World Series team. Bob Uecker, again, one of the great personalities in sports, but specifically in baseball, passing away yesterday at the age of 90.
Yeah, he. When I think of Bob Uecker, I think of the Miller Lite commercials because he was great. They were great. I think of Major League,
Mm-hmm.
and I think of Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere, you're right.
That's what I think of Bob Uecker. I never, like, when I was little and I would see I had no idea he was actually a broadcaster for a team. I had no idea. Like, I thought he was like an actor guy because he was, all I saw, not like I'm watching Brewers games or anything like that, so I don't know what, but yeah, like that's what I think of Bob Uecker. I think the Miller Lite commercials, Major League, and Mr. Belvedere.
But he was so good as a broadcaster because it was just his personality. No, he wasn't Vince Scully. I understand that. But he was really, really good, and he did it for a long time. But you're right. Mr. Belvedere, completely forgot about that. So TV, motion pictures, commercials, guest appearances on talk shows. I mean, the guy put together a tremendous career away from the diamond.
Elijah,
and
you ever heard of
actually on
Mr.
the
Belvedere?
diamond.
I have not.
There was no chance. There
That
was
was a
no
TV show many years ago, well before your time. Fantastic TV show, Mr. Belvedere, but yeah, it was well before your time.
I mentioned Uecker having played a couple of seasons with the Cardinals, transitioning to the Cardinals Caravan in town today over at AutoZone Park. So your chance to mingle with some of the players, some of the former players as well. I think Chip Carey is going to be a part of that, the announcer, the broadcaster. But that just tells you, here comes baseball. We had Matt Reiser on the other day. College will start before the big league regular season. Of course, pitchers and catchers will report mid-month, next month, February. But baseball before too long. And the Cardinals and the Redbirds will have that exhibition game before the season starts, right? That's on tap for this season, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, today, 5:30, gates open down at AutoZone Park. 6 o'clock, the event will get going. First 400 children under the age, or 15 and under, will get an autograph ticket. That will get you an autograph from all of the players that will be there. It's a free event, so yeah, you can head on down to AutoZone Park tonight to see the Cardinals, some current players, former players, Chip Carey and company. And gates open at 5:30 down there at AutoZone Park.
Couple of other things before we take our break and get ready for hour number 3. You had the M Club Hall of Fame announced their class of 2025 yesterday. That's the University of Memphis Sports Hall of Fame. Number of players that will be honored this year, former players that will be honored. And I mentioned this earlier, Chris Douglas Roberts. Now, do they have to call, what does he go by now?
Supreme Bay.
Does he still go by Supreme Bay?
Well, I don't
He's always going to be CDR to me. I'm sure he's going to be CDR to everybody at that banquet. But CDR is going in. Reggie Howard is going in. Of course, Reggie is part of Ryan Silverfield's staff now. Played for the Panthers, Super Bowl, put together a really good career in the NFL after coming from the University of Memphis. So he's part of that class as well. And then there's also some special awards that will be handed out. And one, congratulations to our very own Dave Woloshin, as he was named the Ralph Hatley Silver M Award winner for 2025.
Yep, good for him. Good for all those guys.
Congratulations to all. And congratulations to us here at Flynn Broadcasting, and in particular, Hot 107. It will be the new home of the Memphis Showboats for the 2025 season. Of course, Eli does the play-by-play. Russell Copeland's part of that broadcast. I think Tyler Springs. They will be back in action, but it will be right here, not on Sports 56 or 98.5 FM, but on Hot 107. That news came out yesterday.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to another year of Showboats football. That's it's just around the corner next week. Ken Wisenhunt, the head coach of the Showboats, is going to join us on the program, talk a little NFL playoffs and about what's going on. It won't be long. They'll be reporting to camp and getting ready for the season.
All right, when we come back, we open up hour 3 with 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. Don't get shut out. Jump on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines right now at 901-360-8255 if you'd like to participate. And then plenty of NFL talk with the divisional round playoffs. 2 games tomorrow, 2 games Sunday, with the handicapping point of view from the one and only Brandon Lang at about 9:25. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier, historic Town Square. Come out for the lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about the world famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving lakes, Delta raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite and breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world famous burgers, balls, and shakes. Collier's historic Town Square.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With two big airlines and the largest specialties in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels. With the NC Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive guy, Mike Fitzsimmons. Gordon Moore covering SEC sports now. And former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey working off the first of the extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yellow Line show. Right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South sports station. Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 County Wind Road in Rodman. Pick up on Ag School and Eats online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Wrapping up a couple of wrecks we had out here earlier. A little bit more volume in the last few minutes on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way down to Sycamore View Road. Don't forget now the 55 bridge. They're going to shut that down tonight at 8 o'clock and reopen it on Monday morning around 6 a.m. So that's going to put a little bit more traffic volume this weekend on the I-40 bridge because 55 bridge will remain closed all weekend long. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area now for what, over 40 years? I think they know what they're doing. You'll save a lot of money during Valentine's Day if you shop at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 once again, our Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:02 the time, our final hour this week here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Floor model sale continues at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. It's currently 43 degrees, warming up to 60 today. We're going to see sun this morning. Then we're going to see some clouds roll in. Occasional showers are possible this afternoon, about a 40% chance, and then rain will strengthen tonight into the overnight hours. So rain showers are certainly possible. And then into your Saturday, cloudy skies, 50 degrees, about a 25% chance of rain on Saturday, and then the temps plummet. Sunday, 30 for a high with 14 degrees, your overnight low. Monday, we're talking 27 for a high, 28 on Tuesday, before we get back to the 40s by mid to late week next week. Third hour of the program brought to you each and every day by Jenkins Floors and More. They are 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. Maybe that's a project you have for your family, for your household this year in 2025 is to get new flooring, to get new carpeting, whatever the case may be, and you're going to do it yourself. Well, it makes sense to get your material from Jenkins Floors and more. Top of the line material, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, ceramic and porcelain tiles, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. But then they sell it wholesale, right? The big conglomerates, the big box stores, you're going to pay an awful lot. The big companies for carpeting, you're going to pay a lot of money. They skip the middleman, save you lots of money. So why not get that from Jenkins and then do it yourself? Now, if you can't do it yourself, Jenkins could do it for you. In an unheard of 2-week turnaround, they'll come to you. They'll give you a free estimate wherever you are. So again, please, if you're thinking flooring, you're thinking carpeting, think Jenkins Floors and more, call them or stop by. Ask about your Sports 56 family discount, military and first responders. You get 10% off. Financing is available. They're located again at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. Or you can call them 662-469-9350. Open Monday through Saturday. Ask for Timmy or Rebecca Jenkins. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, and they will take care of you. Before we get to 10 in a row, I did not know that tonight's, it makes sense now to me, but I did not know that tonight's Grizzlies game is going to be nationally televised on ESPN. You could still watch the local broadcast with Pete and Fish, Brev and Fish, but it's going to be on ESPN. And so it's going to be interesting to see if Ja plays or not. Ja was listed on the injury report yesterday as questionable with foot soreness after playing well against the Spurs in the win on Wednesday. So all of a sudden, here comes this mystery foot injury. But it makes sense now because in case he didn't play, the whole load management thing for nationally televised games in case he doesn't go tonight. But usually questionable means most of the time the Grizzlies players end up playing, right?
I'm going to go on a limb and say he plays tonight.
You think it's like a guarantee thing?
I think he'll play tonight.
The way you say that, Eli, with that sarcasm, tint to it that is normally part of your repertoire, it tells me you have inside information.
I have no inside information. I just go by the fact that if he wasn't going to play, they would list him as something worse than questionable, and Ja's not going to miss a game on ESPN. I just don't believe that.
Then why even throw it out there?
I think the Grizzlies operate very much by the book when it comes to the injury report.
Well, that's true.
And so if somebody has any sort of thing, they list it. They list them on the injury report. But I'm going to, again, I could be wrong. Again, I have no inside information from anybody. I'm just going to guess that Ja is going to play tonight.
So I was giving you some love there. I thought you had the little inside info that for sure when it's questionable, that means they play. But you're probably right because so far I think that has hit every single time. We'll see if Ja goes. And again, we're talking, 8:30 tonight? Later start.
I believe it is, 8:30 Central Time. Yes, 8:30 tonight because they are the second game. By the way, speaking of the Grizzlies and injuries, and I always think maybe the Grizzlies make up body parts that are hurt. Last night I was looking at the box score from Oklahoma City's win over Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And no surprise that they bounce back after losing at Cleveland and they dominate Cavaliers at home. But Isaiah Hartenstein last night missed the game with a left soleus strain.
The old soleus strain.
Which is, that was one of the body parts I thought the Grizzlies made up. But the Oklahoma City players have a soleus as well, because that was what Brandon Clark had, was a soleus strain. Hartenstein. And Chet Holmgren, they list him, it is a right iliac wing fracture. Grizzlies have never had anybody fracture their iliac wing, as far as I know.
Don't ask me to spell that because I will not get that right.
So there you go. So the Grizzlies are not the only ones who are making up body parts. They're Oklahoma City, who's the best team in the West. They make up body parts too. So it's okay.
Is Holmgren still out? What do they list him?
Yeah, he's out.
Because he's getting close to returning. You mentioned Oklahoma City.
I don't know how long it takes an iliac wing to heal.
4 to 6 weeks. No, I'm kidding. Oklahoma City did get the bounce back win over Cleveland after losing that last time, 134 to 114. Now, Cleveland loses by 20, and all of a sudden there's news from The Athletic today, and I don't think this is a surprise because I think a lot of teams would love his services, but that Cleveland is very interested in trading for Cam Johnson. So this goes back to what I've always said about the Grizzlies. If you can get better, you get better. You don't live on your laurels. You don't assume that the unhealthy is going to be healthy the rest of the way. If you can get better, you can get better. If you can make a trade, you get better then. Because if you think you're the best right now, you're not. And that goes for anybody out there. Even Oklahoma City, who record-wise is the best. But this is Cleveland, one of the best teams in the NBA, consistent all year long. According to reports, they are in the Cam Johnson sweepstakes.
Raider Corey texts in, says, you can't posterize Wemby and then miss the sequel. Ja will play.
Again, yeah.
I
questionable
believe,
usually means you've had
I believe Ja will absolutely play. I would be stunned if Ja did not play tonight.
Well, we will play right now 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
Jump on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines right now. If you'd like to participate, you can text in at 901, or call in, at 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. 10 in a row is brought to you by Napa Cafe.
That's right. Folks at Napa Cafe, celebrating a new year, another year of great food over at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderland. That's where you'll find them, and that's where you're going to find great food on the menu over there for dinner Wednesday through Saturday, starting at 5 o'clock. If you go to NapaCafe.com, you can check out the menu, see all the great dishes they have on that menu, whether it be one of the great steaks or any of the seafood or whatever it might be that you're looking for. Maybe just looking for an appetizer and a drink for happy hour. You can do that as well. They've got 5 dining rooms, including their private wine cellar if you're celebrating a special occasion. That's a great way to do that as well. It's just absolutely fantastic food. This is their 27th year. That's right, 27 years. If you've been in the restaurant business for 27 years, you know you're serving up great food, and that's what they do at Napa Cafe. Again, NapaCafe.com is the website. Check out the menu. Make your reservations. Head on over and see them at 5101 Sanderland. It is Napa Cafe.
All right, what are the folks playing for today?
We've got a $50 gift certificate to Napa Cafe. Also a $50 gift certificate to Blues City Cafe downtown. And a $25 gift certificate to East Coast Wings, and a couple of Malco movie passes.
All right, that's a great prize package.
Big old prize package.
Well, I know right off the bat, $125 plus the Malco
Look
tickets.
at you and your math skills.
Damn right.
Maryland education. Who says they're not teaching kids math at Maryland these days?
Damn right. All right, here's the question. Top 10 all-time NFL playoff leaders in passing touchdowns. Top 10 all-time NFL playoff leaders, playoffs, in passing touchdowns. So it's not a combination of rushing and passing. It's just purely passing touchdowns in the playoffs. I'll give you the name of a quarterback. If they rank in the top 10 all-time in playoff passing touchdowns, it's a yes. If not, it's a no.
360-8255, 360-8255. That's the phone number to play. Again, $50 to Napa Cafe, $50 to Blue City Cafe, $25 to East Coast Wings, and a couple of Malco movie passes. Huge prize package for a winner of 10 in a row this week.
All right, let's go as you scurry the internet to look up the answer to this question. Let's go. We need the guinea pigs. Top 10 all-time NFL playoff leaders in passing touchdowns. 360.
I bet Tom Brady's a yes.
Why'd you blow it for me?
I bet I'm just going to go on out of a limb here. Say Tom Brady would be a yes.
Why'd you blow that one for me? Somebody's going to have an advantage, a big advantage here. Coming up at 9:25, Brandon Lang will join us. He'll handicap the playoff games this weekend in the NFL and the national championship game on Monday night between Ohio State and Notre Dame. All right, 360-8255. Let's get going. The question once again, top 10 all-time NFL playoff leaders in passing touchdowns.
I'm going to bet Babe Laufenberg is a no.
He didn't make the list.
Anthony's first up. Hey, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
How's it going?
All right, here we go. Guess what? Tom Brady,
Yes.
Troy Aikman,
No.
Steve Young,
No.
Brett Favre.
No.
360-8255. Top 10 all-time NFL playoff leaders in passing touchdowns.
Ray is next, stay right.
What's up, Ray?
Andre.
Oh, Andre.
Andre. Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like
what's up, fellas?
it rhymes with Ray.
There's a Ray in there. You can't spell out. You can't say Andre without Ray.
All right, here we go, Andre. Ben Roethlisberger,
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes,
Yes.
Joe Flacco,
No.
Russell Wilson,
No.
Peyton Manning,
Yes.
Roger Staubach,
No.
Aaron Rodgers,
Yes.
John Elway,
No.
Jim Kelly,
No.
Terry Bradshaw.
No.
Well done. Winner.
Whatever your name is, great job. Congratulations, Andre. You are a winner. Hold on, and Elijah will let you know how to get your prize package.
All right. We got the lines packed. You doing second chance here?
I'll give Steven and John a chance.
Okay.
Steven, what's up?
Hey, Steven.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Tom Brady,
Yes.
Troy Aikman,
No.
Steve Young,
No.
Brett Favre,
Yes.
Eli Manning,
No.
Drew Brees,
Yes.
Dan Marino,
Yes.
Ken Stabler,
No.
Kurt Warner,
Yes.
Joe Montana.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a second chance winner. You guys
Hey!
are really good at looking up stuff. I'm telling you. Good job.
Congratulations, Steven. We'll get the prize package together for you as well.
So Brady's number one at 88. Number two, do you know who number two is?
I have no idea. Peyton Manning?
Aaron Rodgers at 45. So basically, Brady doubles Rodgers, who's second on the list in playoff passing touchdowns. Brett Favre has 44. Patrick Mahomes has 41. Peyton has 40. Then you have, I'm sorry, Joe Montana has 45. He's tied with Rodgers. They both have 45. Then 44 for Favre, 41 for Mahomes, 40 for Peyton Manning. And then after that, you have Breeze at 37, Roethlisberger at 36, Marino at 32, again, a guy who never won a Super Bowl, and Kurt Warner at 31, who had an amazing career and an amazing story. Maybe they should make a movie about Kurt Warner's life. Oh, that's right, they did. But Patrick Mahomes is interesting because here's Patrick Mahomes with 41. He's not old. There are some people that believe that if Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs to a third straight Super Bowl, which would be the first time that's ever happened in Super Bowl history, that he is elevated to GOAT status. He eclipses Tom Brady. I don't think he's there yet, but he's on the precipice. Because again, look at the playoff touchdowns. Brady 88, Mahomes 41. Mahomes obviously great, but it's a long way to go. I'm not saying you have to have the most, because Brady would have never won 3 straight Super Bowls. Team game, I understand that, but Mahomes is a big part of it. Mahomes has been the best quarterback in the NFL for a number of years now. But he is right there, and people will make that argument, and you can make it. You certainly can. I wouldn't go there yet. But trying to make some history.
Start doing things that nobody's ever done before. You get to be in that conversation.
Yes, I think that's a great point. So you have the Chiefs and the Texans as the opener tomorrow. We'll talk with Brandon about all 4 of these games. Texans get 8 points at the Chiefs. They met earlier, right? Elijah, did they meet earlier in the season?
They met on December 21st, so not too long ago.
Okay. And what was that score?
27-19.
27-19. All right. Commanders get 9.5 at the Lions. That line, I don't think, has changed much.
That's the only one that's not a rematch of the regular season.
Okay. The Rams, I know they played the Eagles, right? The Rams +6 at the Eagles. That's on Sunday, game 1. And then, of course, the one that everybody's looking forward to, more than any of these games, unless you're a fan of that particular team. The Ravens, the Bills. Ravens +1 at the Bills. You know, people are talking about that game, that the losing team and the losing quarterback, it's a huge setback for them. Josh Allen hasn't gotten to the promised land. Lamar Jackson hasn't gotten to the promised land. I don't look at it that way. These are two great quarterbacks. May the best team win. Obviously, Harbaugh's won a Super Bowl. McDermott hasn't gotten there. It would be huge for him, a huge feather in his cap. But as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, I know the narrative will be made that Allen failed or Jackson failed, and I don't see it that way. I know only one team can win, one team can advance, but to me, they are two of the most electric players in the NFL, and they should be applauded for that, not demeaned for losing this game.
Well, part of it is how do they play? Like if one of them throws 5 interceptions and they lose, like that's different than if you go out and it's a duel and both are great. And I mean, somebody's got to lose the game. But how they play will be a part of that. I mean, both of them are still trying to have that first Super Bowl run, all of that stuff. And, certainly Allen has been close, but has had to deal with Patrick Mahomes. And so it's a lot of it will be determined how the response to whoever loses the game will be based a little bit on how they play. In the first matchup, the Ravens killed Buffalo this year. Buffalo was not able to run the ball in that one. That's the one thing that I'll be interested to see is can they run the football? Because Baltimore is not good against the pass, but they are good against the run. If they do make Buffalo one-dimensional, can Josh Allen do it? Derrick Henry went off against Buffalo in the first meeting. If he does that again, obviously that makes it a lot easier on Lamar Jackson.
Didn't he go to the house on his first carry? Like some 70, 80-yard run, something like that?
He had 199 yards in the game.
Yeah, and he'll get a lot of the credit if they win this game, and he'll, assuming that he has a big game, he'll get a lot of the credit. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson, and I think any quarterback, their game is elevated when you bring in a player like Derrick Henry. It certainly helps the bottom line.
And I don't know what the weather is supposed to be. I don't know
Snow and brutally cold.
And the same thing in Philadelphia. The weather certainly could play parts in these games. Philadelphia, obviously, with what they do in the running game, I'm sure they would love for it to be snowing and miserable in Philadelphia with the Rams coming in there.
Let me give you the...
Saquon went for 255 yards in their first meeting, so if they have to rely on their running game, they're certainly not going to be disappointed by that.
Okay, so Philadelphia, and I'm not sure the breakdown of the time, but the high is projected for 34, the low 17, and snow is in the forecast, 95% chance. That's Philadelphia. I know Buffalo, I saw it earlier, where they are... I mean, it could be like negative. Let me see. Buffalo for Sunday. I know snow is in the forecast. And the temperature on Sunday is 21 for a high and 10 degrees for a low. Although here I see only 25% chance for for snow. But brutally cold.
Guns, and more guns. That's what you'll find at Classic Arms. With over 700 firearms in stock, whatever you might be looking for, I'm going to guess they probably have it, whether it be a handgun, whether it be shotguns, whether it be rifles, hunting, self-defense, new or used, whatever it is, all the top brand names, they've got them for you. At Classic Arms, they not only sell guns, but they also buy guns. Then they trade guns. So they've got new and used guns for you. And all those top names like Winchester and Remington and Glock and Colt and Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, all of those. They've got all of them for you. And we're talking 700 firearms in stock. They have pretty much everything you could imagine. They also do free gun inspections. They do free gun appraisals. They do it all at Classic Arms. All your supplies, whether it be ammo or gun cases or gun safes or any of that stuff, they've got it for you at Classic Arms. 1740 Germantown Parkway. It's right behind Corky's Barbecue, and they're in Cordova. You can also shop online 24/7, classicarmsofmemphis.com. That is the website for Classic Arms.
Brandon Lang is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, folks, no time to wait. It's here, the 36th annual January sale going on now at Sunrise Buick GMC of Wolf Case. Didn't get what you wanted for the holidays? That's okay. Now's the time to take care of you. Are you 100% happy with your car? Now's the time to get you a new ride. 2 or 3 days, big discounts, low interest rates, and Sunrise divorce, low pay, just no credit. It's all okay at Sunrise Buick.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6. $1 off all travel games, $5 off meal trains, $4.50 for house wine, and mozzarella sticks, queso, $1 today. Friday night lights from 7 to 11. Dine in and buy grill wings, day 5 and free. How much college football and every pro game. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland. Highway 70, fall is football.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier, historic Town Square. Come out for the lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about the world famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving lakes, Delta raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion ring. Dyer's, serving world famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic Town Square.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a mother pheasant plucker, I pluck mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56.
Welcome back, everybody. Big NFL weekend, divisional round playoffs, 4 games, the national championship game on Monday night. And we're going to talk about it and get the breakdown from the one and only Brandon Lang.
It's time to handicap this week's action. Joining Greg and Eli is sports handicapper Brandon Lang, subject of the movie 2 for the Money.
I mean, I was absolutely nauseous and ready to really love the TV, tracking down with that yellow football bat, just putting the beat on.
Get Brandon's plays at BrandonLang.com.
Yeah, Nicholson, I'm super big. You walking on that wall. You're moving on that wall. Oath and honor. Who's going to do that? Superman McCaffrey.
Also listen to Brandon's betting analysis on the Believe Podcast Network.
Not going to last very long in the NFL. What people say, he will be bad in the league for 3 years. I guarantee if you heard it here first, he will be gone. I don't know what his dad does for a living, but whatever his dad does, will go in the family.
But now, here's Brandon with Greg and Eli.
The website, BrandonLang.com. The podcast, 2 for Your Money, which can be heard on the Believe Podcast Network. The TV show Cappers on the Pluto Network. He is the very busy Brandon Lang, back from vacay. How was it?
Actually, still here in Costa Rica.
Wow, you're joining us from Costa Rica?
Yeah, it's Hidden Gem, man. Nazaro is where we go. My wife came down here, 3 years ago. It's a hidden gem. The food's great. It's a little teeny community. It's right on the ocean. The beach is unreal. There's a private, not really a private beach, but you got to drive like 45 minutes. Mel Gibson owns 360 acres and built just a compound and the beach. You can go to the beach that he has, and then right to the left of that is the same beach. Oh my God. I was catching 8.5, 9 foot body surf waves yesterday, and my body's just wrecked. But nothing better than riding a 9 footer body surfing and just slamming into the shore. It's awesome.
Did you pack the paddle?
No, because we're back Sunday. So, we didn't. You're funny.
I didn't know if it was just the body surfing that had wrecked your body or not.
What's funny is she goes, should we pack it? And I'm like, no, I'll take the beat if I get back if it loses.
I didn't think you'd have the internet connection. That's why I thought you were already back, but I'm glad you're able to do this.
Yeah, it's very Americanized, man. It really is. It's just, it's just, you can describe it to people, but until you come down, the weather's absolutely perfect. Sunny every day. The beach is incredible. It's just a hidden gem in Central America. Costa Rica really is phenomenal. So,
all right. So I want to go back to last Friday night because we had you on, and you said with the Ohio State Texas game, you were not going to worry about watching the second half of the game. You were just Ohio State first half, and that's all you cared about. So, take us through the final seconds after Texas scored the touchdown, and then Ohio State hits for the 75-yard screen pass.
Well, just understand, as you watch the game, Ohio State scores on their first drive, and 3 of their next 4 drives, there's a penalty that destroys them. A hold, the brutal one
the smack
was
in the
you're
face.
Staring down the barrel. Yeah, the brutal one was you're staring down the barrel 14-0, and then Henderson jacks the guy in the face. Just stupid because they just picked up a first down at the 41 of Texas. You see it coming. And so as soon as Texas got the ball, I'm like, this is going to be 7-7. And then my wife is like, no, you're fine. We're fine here. We're fine here. I'm like, this is going to be 7-7. Been doing this for 30 years. It's a loser. Life goes on. Let's turn the TV off. No. So I watch it. And, of course, they score. And she looks at me. She goes, how do you know these things? Babe, been doing this for 30 years. You get a first half play. They got to get 14. You're home free. You got to worry about nothing. I said, let's just go to bed. Turn TV off. Go upstairs. Next thing I know, you text me. And I go, what? And I was recording the game. So I go back downstairs. I turn it on. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That's just insanity. Now, let's fast forward. Because if you had the first half play on either side, you got tormented. Yeah. If you had the game on either side, the way it ended, 1st and goal at the 2-yard line, it just goes to show you how stupid these college coaches are when you get 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. If you just go 5 wide and quarterback sneak 4 times, they can't stop you. Because if you go 5 wide, you can't put 2 over the center. You can't. You're 5 wide. You can't put 2 over the center. So you snap it, you pick your gap, you fall forward, there's a yard. Brady did it all the time. It's mind-blowing how Sarkisian, then he panics and runs wide and loses 6 yards because somebody missed a block. Now you're done. Now you're 3rd and goal at the 8, missed incomplete pass, and then here comes the strip sack other way. And if you had Texas, you just want to commit suicide. If you had Ohio State, you want to go by like 100 scratch-offs and go, oh, I'm losing.
See, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
People always talk about the bad beats. They'll remember, but they don't remember the good wins. Like the other side. When you have the other side, it's amazing.
No, I remember that because I won both ways, and I am usually on the other side. I got bad luck in gambling, but I had good luck on that night.
I remember the wins, but I remember the losses. I remember having Duquesne at home plus 6.5. LeBron James, high school coach, is the coach of Duquesne, and they're playing Penn State, and it's a tie game with 6 seconds to go. And Penn State goes. Lamar Stevens goes in for a layup. It's a block. They call it's a charge. They call a block. Dambro goes crazy. You can see it's coming. The tee's coming. The tee's coming. There's your tee. Well, now that I got the tee, and there's no way we can win, the coat comes off, slammed to the floor. There's the second tee. I'm like, okay, well, there's 6 free throws right there. Well, boom, 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 hits all 6. 4 seconds to go. Just inbound it, walk off the floor. No, you got to get the foul. makes 2 more. 8-point game. Game over. How you doing? Loser.
What was the one the
That's
other?
unbelievable.
What was the one the other day? Basketball. It was college, I think. Yeah, it was definitely college because the NBA doesn't do that. The kid dribbled around past half court and then decided to chuck it up, and he nailed it. It was it made the rounds on the internet. It was big because it really was costly. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Didn't see it. I've missed Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats on Monday night because that's when he would show it. I'll go back and research it and find it. Because I just like watching these bad beats and dodging some bad beats and it's I haven't had many in college hoop. I'm on a nice college hoop run. Last night I had 2 nights ago Mercer at home plus 5.5, lost by 1. Last night I had this was a good one last night. I had at home I had Jacksonville State plus 3.5 over Louisiana Tech. They won outright 63-61. The Jacksonville State had gone into Missouri earlier this year. They led by 1 with 4 minutes to go, and I go, okay, I don't care who you are, but if you can go into Missouri, who beat Florida, and you're up 1 with 4 minutes to go, you got some talent. You don't accidentally just go into Missouri and lead them by 1 with 4 minutes to go unless you got some talent. And I go, I know Louisiana Tech's got the flossy 13-4 record, but Jackson State's going to go. They did. They're winning them outright 6-3.
I had a great one last night at Oregon State over Gonzaga.
I looked at that too. First thing I do in college basketball every night is I handicap every single home dog. If there's 12 home dogs on the card, I handicap every single one. And I've told people this. I'm telling you, you will have at least 2 home dogs win outright every single college basketball night. It's going to happen. You just got to do the research and find them. Oregon State, I looked at that. I just fell in love with Jacksonville State.
Look at you coming with Mercer and Jacksonville State last couple
Buddy,
nights.
that's what you get from
That's
me.
right.
That's
You
what you
want me
wanna
on
do,
that
right?
wall.
Yes.
You need me on that wall. Nobody wants, nobody needs me to tell them to take these, big conference, big schools. Iowa State minus 5.5 over Kansas, who lost earlier this year at Missouri. That was a gift, but there's chalk out there. But the value of the line in college basketball are these dogs in the smaller conferences that Vegas isn't paying attention to.
Now,
and I love the smaller conferences. Go ahead.
we go over the good and we go over the bad, and most of it is good with Brandon Lang. However, you and I discussed this last week. I said that Tampa game was the toughest one on the board. You said it was the easiest one on the board. And there's Washington, shocking Tampa.
Amazing to me when I watched the game that Baker Mayfield only threw 15 times and he was 12 for 15.
Wow.
Why is that? Why is your quarterback who you're paying all that money was 12 of 15 for the game? Todd Bowles got badly outcoached. It was terrible. Just terrible. But again, Herbert throws 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
The guy threw 3 picks the entire year.
Yeah.
He throws 4 picks against Houston. I think he's a stoner. I think he gets high and plays high. I do. I think he's
a stoner.
And if you look at his interviews after the game, he looks high. He's just a laid back. He's up there getting that good weed up in Oregon where he played, and I think he gets it sent down to him. And I think him and the brothers just get high as you know what, go out and play. Because that performance was one of the worst I've seen in playoff history.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into Sunday with Tampa Bay. They're up 4 with the ball, just got a goal line stand. They're going to drive, and Baker fumbles.
Yeah.
Just a massive fumble in a game like that. But it didn't matter. My biggest Monday night game of the entire season at BrandonLang.com was the Rams Monday night. So that really, and then I've heated up in college basketball all week. So good rebound from the debauchery of Sunday in Tampa Bay.
All right, so let's look at these games. 3 of the games this week are rematches from regular season games. Kansas City beat Houston by 8 in the regular season. They are an 8-point favorite at home here against the Texans, who probably turned in their best performance of the year last week. I don't think there's any doubt about that with what they did to the Chargers. What about the Chiefs off the bye?
I want to literally take KC. They have owned this team in the playoffs the last 2 years. I really do. They haven't been great at covering numbers all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And in that meeting that they played, it was a much closer game than it was an 8-point final, but Stroud threw 2 really bad picks. And he's going to see some pressure here because his offensive line's giving up more pressures than any offensive line in football. But that's such a big number. It's a huge number. And I just can't get past how they have struggled to cover numbers all year long. I lean towards Houston, but I reserve the right to maybe lay in it after I get into it tonight, really go back and watch that first meeting again and watch the whole game and whatever. But it just smells like you got to take the 8.5, 9. Based, and then the back door's wide open because KC's offensive line struggles as well. So you're going to have pressure on Mahomes. So we'll see.
Yeah, Dell had a huge game in that first meeting, and he's out with the injury, so it makes me wonder if
that's
they have
another
enough
thing
weapons.
that scares me. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
it is a tough one. All right, Commanders-Lions, that rematch. Lions also coming off the bye, 9.5-point favorites over the Commanders coming off the win at Tampa.
It's going over. Over under 55.5. Detroit scoring 37+. I don't see anything by Washington that's going. I know Detroit's gotten players back on defense, but Detroit's gone over the posted total 6 of their last 7, and I'm going to ride it. I'm going to ride over 55.5.
So over for the game. How about over for Detroit's individual amount?
Yeah, I got them. I think that's 34, and I got them scoring 37-40. I just don't see how Washington's going to stop them. I just don't. Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay is one thing, but this Detroit offense is with a week to prepare and healthy and relaxed. I think they're going to come out and just name it offensively.
The Eagles beat up on the Rams, and Saquon went nuts in their meeting this year. They are at home. There's a possibility of some snow, cold weather. 6.5-point favorites. Eagles didn't look great last week, but Green Bay was just that bad. What do you think?
In that first meeting, it was a 10-point game, and the Rams had the ball around midfield and got stopped and punted. And Philly went on that drive, and then you got the big breakaway touchdown for Barkley that put him up 17. It was game over. So you see the final score. It looks like a big final score, but it was right there with the Rams in position to cut it to 3, and then Philly gets the ball. Who knows what happens? You get a little tighter when you're only up 3 rather than being up 10. I can't go against the Rams here. I just can't. The way they looked last week, dismantling the Vikings, the way Stafford looked, the way their offense looked, running the ball, their offensive line, their defense looked phenomenal. I think this game goes down to the wire. I think Philly wins. I think it's a field goal game. But I'm taking the Rams plus the points.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. We both kind of like the Rams. By the way, I misspoke earlier. Commanders-Lions, not a repeat. The other 3 are games that were played earlier in the year. Commanders-Lions did not play earlier in the year. One team or one game that certainly is going to have a lot of eyeballs on, and that's the Ravens-Bills, the final game of the weekend. The Bills, the only road favorite of the 4 games. What do you think about this rematch?
Here's my problem with this game. It's so easy to be enamored with Josh Allen. So easy just to see what he does and get excited. But in that first meeting, the Bills went down to Baltimore 3-0, had just scored over 40 in their last game. They had scored over 30 in all 3 and lost 35-10 and could do nothing against a Ravens defense that's playing 100 times better now than they were then. The concern for me is Goff threw for 495 yards on this Buffalo defense. Stafford threw for 320 yards on this Buffalo defense. I get it. I get Josh Allen. I get the offense. Their defense really isn't that good, and Bo Nix wasn't able to take advantage of it because he's a rookie quarterback on the road in Buffalo. I trust what my eyes tell me. I think Baltimore's the best team in the AFC. I just do. And I think they're going to the Super Bowl. And I think they win this game here. I'm not going against them. I think they're the better team, no matter where the game's played.
Certainly there, it's 2 cold weather teams. They don't care. In that Eagles-Rams game, if it is snowing and it's obviously going to be cold, does that worry you for the Rams?
No, because Stafford's played in bad weather before. It's on the defense can adjust to the weather. The defense is fine. The defense of the Rams. That's not your problem. It's offensive players playing in cold weather. When your quarterback is used to playing in cold weather, which Stafford did all those years in Detroit, he's going to be fine. The Rams go as Stafford goes.
Yeah.
They moved the ball on Philadelphia in the first half of that game and just didn't execute inside the red zone. And so it's Stafford, just like he said. Our offense is clicking right now, and I feel good about it. That was his quote after the game. So the cold weather doesn't concern me in Philly and LA.
Hey, before we get your natty pick for Monday night, I'm not sure if you play around too much with props. Is there a prop bet of this weekend that you really love?
Yeah, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but whatever Jared Goff's numbers are, play over his pass attempts and play over yards for him. I think he's having a big day. I really, really do. You know, Gibbs' numbers are going to go down because Montgomery's coming back.
Yeah.
So I think Gibbs doesn't have the kind of numbers he's had in the last couple of weeks. But I just think Goff's going to tear this secondary up. I do.
All right, pass attempts for Goff, passing yards for Goff. All right, Monday night, the big one for college football, for all the marbles in Atlanta, Ohio State, 8-point favorite over Notre Dame.
I can't go against the Fighting Irish.
Wow.
I just can't. Wow. I just can't. You look at their numbers. You look at what they've done. You look at the fact that since they lost to Northern Illinois, they've covered every single game the rest of the year except one, and that was Lane 27 at home to Miami of Ohio and won by 25. That's just insane. And you look at Marcus Freeman in his career at Notre Dame, 29-11 against the spread. Average margin of loss is 7 points per game. They've had only 3 by double digits in his entire career as head coach. They're 10-0 against the spread with foes coming off an ATS win or 9 or more, which Ohio State is. 31-1 outright in games where the Irish have scored 24 or more points. So I think their defense is better than Texas's defense, and I don't like the fact that Ohio State struggled and those receivers couldn't get open on Texas's secondary. A secondary that got carved up by Arizona State. Arizona State shredded them, and Ohio State struggled. And now I believe they're seeing a better defense with a better secondary than they saw last week. Listen, that game should have went to overtime. But Sarkisian melted and choked at the goal line on first and goal at the 2. Or we're in OT, and who knows what happened. So I got to take the points. Sorry.
All right.
Interesting.
Sounds good. Safe travels back to the States, Brandon. Make sure to check out the website, BrandonLang.com. The podcast, Two for Your Money. The show's called Cappers. It's on Pluto Network. He is the one and only Brandon Lang. We'll talk to you next Friday.
By the way, the paddle game.
Yeah.
Notre Dame +5 first half.
Oh, going back to the first half, going against Ohio State in the first half this time.
Yes, I am. I think they're going to struggle against Notre Dame's defense in the first half. I'm taking the Irish +5 first half.
Well, I was assuming that the over in the Detroit playoff game was the paddle game, so I'm glad you brought that up. All right, there you go.
Well, I just real quick before you get me off the line, I just want to make sure that that's the line that you give me for the first half. So, here we go. The first half line in that game.
I'm trying.
It might be 6. So, here we go. The first half +6, +5.5, 5. All right, so it's +5.5 first half. Notre Dame paddle game. There you go.
+5.5.
Notre Dame +5.5 first half.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you, Brandon.
All right, boys. Have a good week.
You too.
Oh, I should have. Boy, he got lucky. I just pulled it up on FanDuel. It's 4.5, but we'll give him 5.5.
All right, 5.5 for Brandon, but 4.5 if you deal with FanDuel. We will deal with a break. We'll come back, wrap it up for the week. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The exercise coach is ready for you. Strength training only takes 20 minutes twice a week with special computerized exercise equipment designed to maximize your workouts and minimize your time. An exercise coach gives you personal workouts like one-on-one with a trainer. Check out the exercise coach at exercisecoach.com/Lakeland or exercisecoach.com.
sports fans out there, Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating the football season coming up. Commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also, check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
What a great time of year. Football, basketball, baseball, golf, and home sales. Home sales? This is Sheldon Rosengard from Box Ben Store Realtors. Why did I throw in home sales at this time of year? Because I have sold homes on the day before Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Day. Whether it's someone transferring in through a relocation network or someone just starting their home search, homes sell all year long, just like my golf game being banned all year long. I may be called Mr. Three-Putt, but at least I'm consistent. If you or someone you know is thinking of selling, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I'm one of them. Find out how my highly successful strategic marketing program can get the winning score you need. Call me and find out why people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Done. 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. Go for that goal and call me. Shell Done at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
This hour brought to you by James Fairs. Once again, Greg
So Brandon was referencing Matthew Stafford having played a snow game in Philly. It was back in 2013. They played and they lost. I think it was 31-13 Eagles. Does that matter? Not really. We're talking about 12 years ago. And then you're talking about new receivers in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua who have not played in snow. So I would be a little concerned about that one. The Rams certainly played fantastic in their win over the Vikings. And Philly right now with Jalen Hurts, he's not 100%, but you got Barkley. The Rams have a formidable front, so if they could slow down Barkley, it'll be interesting. I think it's a close game, but I think the Rams might have trouble throwing the ball because it is expected to snow in Philadelphia.
I thought it was always sunny in Philadelphia.
Might be sunny and snowy.
I don't know anything about soccer, so you're as close as I got to a soccer expert. I see this headline here on ESPN that a guy signed a record 9.5-year deal with Manchester City.
9.5 years?
Why are we signing 9.5-year contracts?
Is he Bobby Bonilla?
I don't know what does that mean?
Why is it a half year? I have no freaking idea. Oh, it's probably to finish this season and then 9 years after that. They're probably at the halfway mark of this season. That's what I'm guessing. Right? Has
I don't
to
know.
be, right?
I don't know. I just saw a 9.5-year deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird. I could be like an NBA player. I'm playing a 9.5-year contract. So at the end of this, like that last year, I'm out. We hit 41 games. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm a free
exactly.
agent.
I'm done.
Once we hit 41 games, I'm a free agent that year. I just can't see myself finishing that final year of this contract. The 41 game mark, I am done.
All right, who are your picks for the wild card games? Or excuse me, for the divisional round games?
The Chiefs.
So you're gonna lay the 8.
The Lions.
Lay the 9.5.
I'm going to take the Eagles because of the weather.
Okay.
And then
lay the 6.
And then the other one I am completely torn on. I actually think the Bills are going to win that game.
I know that you're not big into the parlays. I'm not sure. I think you like prop bets, depending on the prop bet. So it may snow in Buffalo, it may not, but it's going to be frigid. I think that this would be a pretty cool prop bet. I think we may have a game in which both quarterbacks run for 100 yards. I don't think it's that far-fetched. It's still a reach, but I think it's worth to throw a few dollars on because I wonder what those odds would be to go Jackson and Allen each to go for 100 yards rushing. What do you think about that?
They could.
So I'm thinking about
Certainly
throwing
that
as a prop. Elijah, we haven't had a chance to talk to you much today. Who are your picks for the divisional round playoff games?
I'm rolling with Kansas City on Saturday.
Okay.
I'm rolling with the Rams. Like I said earlier in the week, I'm going to stick with the Rams in Philadelphia. I like the Bills over the Ravens. As hot as the Ravens have been, I think the Bills being at home is going to be what lifts them over the top. And I like the Lions far and away. I think the Commanders' run is going to come to an end. I think the Lions are going to take care of business at home.
I think I'm with you guys. I think that I know that Brandon wasn't real high on the Chiefs because they didn't look like their normal self. I think it's going to be like a new Chiefs.
Well, Patrick Mahomes has never lost in the divisional round, so.
Yeah, but I think they're going to beat up the Texans. The Texans, when they played the Chiefs the first time around, Stroud had Tank Dell. He doesn't have Tank Dell now. He doesn't have Diggs. I know Joe Mixon was running real hard last week in the win over the Chargers, and he'll run hard in this game, but I think the Chiefs will be able to stymie him. I love the Chiefs. I love the Lions, big. Eagles, Rams, I'm a little confused on that one. I might lean toward the Eagles. That's what you ended up leaning toward, right, Eli? Eagles? And I'm with you guys about the Bills. But should we doubt Derrick Henry? He is the X factor that the Ravens have never had before. And now you throw in those two guys, Lamar Jackson with the RPO, run pass option, like boom, stick it in the belly of Henry, keep it, go around the one side or give it to Henry. It's going to be a great weekend of NFL football. And, of course, on Monday we'll be talking a lot about the national championship in college football. I know Dave Woloshin will have a lot to say about the Tigers' loss to Temple. That'll be coming up next with Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. I want to thank our guests today, John Varlas, Matt Dillon, and Brandon Lang. I want to thank you folks for listening to the program, your calls and texts. We always appreciate it. So we'll talk again Monday morning, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Brandon Lang will join us to preview the national championship game as well. Again, Wolo is coming up next with Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. For Eli Savoy and for Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great week, everyone. Great weekend.